Across the ancient world, mysteries do not appear in isolation, they appear in numbers. Stone cities built with impossible precision. Megalithic blocks weighing hundreds of tons, moved without clear methods. Symbols carved into rock that no one can read. Underground tunnels with unknown purposes. Artifacts discovered far outside their expected time and place. Civilizations that vanished without records, and technologies that seem far ahead of their era. These are not myths or exaggerations, but physical remains still studied today. Despite modern tools and decades of research, many of these mysteries remain unsolved. Together, they raise a troubling question. Are these isolated anomalies or signs that our understanding of ancient history is fundamentally incomplete? Among the most exceptional examples of civilian defensive architecture in the world, the Diaolu defensive towers of Kaiping, China, occupy a uniquely enigmatic position, simultaneously symbols of their era and veils shrouded in mysteries that have defied explanation to this very day. Built sporadically throughout the Kaiping Plains from the late 19th century to the early 20th century, these towers were both fortresses against looting and warfare, as well as spaces for daily life. Beneath their imposing exteriors, however, lie puzzles concerning their building materials, especially the bulletproof technology handed down and whispered among generations of overseas Chinese who returned home. Why do you think the secrets of the materials and construction techniques of the Kaiping Diaolu have managed to remain unsolved for hundreds of years? Share your thoughts in the comments below. From the tumultuous social setting of Guangdong, where waves of wealthy merchants and émigrés returned from abroad, with not only fortunes, but also knowledge skills and modern European architectural styles, Diaolu arose as a radical answer to unending dangers, pirates, unrest, and natural disasters. The Diaolu were designed not merely as residences, but as impregnable bastions, able to withstand gunfire, fire, even historic floods. These extreme demands created fertile ground for unprecedented experimentation in local building history. To delve deeper, a structure rises from 3 to 7 stories high, adorned with traditional curved roof tiles and European-style arched windows. The most striking feature is the wall thickness, ranging from 50 to 90 centimeters, and in some places, over a meter, that has remained intact for hundreds of years and countless direct assaults. Local folklore says every tower had its own secret recipe for building materials, passed down like a family treasure and never shared with outsiders. Dozens of samples taken from different towers and analyzed under modern microscopes have yielded strikingly inconsistent results. The crowning marvel of the Diaolu lies in their bulletproof walls, hailed by many as feats of engineering from an era before standardized cement. Many towers withstood even rifle and early machine gun fire. According to both records and the recollections of early builders, the mortar in the Diaolu contained not only lime sand and gravel, but also unusual additives, such as sugarcane pulp, ceramic powder, seashells, and even plant resins. Each component served a purpose: sugar improved binding and water resistance. Ceramic powder added strength. Shells supplied calcium and resilience. Plant resins prevented cracking from temperature changes. Ancient Diaolu samples have shown astonishing results: compressive strength up to 25 to 30 MPa, nearly on par with high-grade modern concrete. Even stranger, many samples have retained flexibility and elasticity after hundreds of years of dampness and relentless weathering. Some contained minuscule, evenly distributed air bubbles, increasing impact resistance. and reducing shattering, what modern engineers call smart, lightweight concrete. Delving deeper, researchers discovered that each clan's dialu showed unique twists. Some mixed in fine sea sand, others used ground basalt from nearby hills. Still others employed rice husk ash or powdered charcoal for reinforcement. Recent studies even detected plant proteins from beans, sesame or flax in the mortar, adding durability and adhesion, much like the famous sticky rice mortar in ancient Chinese fortresses. But in dialu, the exact ratios and combinations remain so mysterious that no attempt at recreation has succeeded in replicating the originals. The mystery deepens. Minor excavations in abandoned towers have revealed double wall layers with insulating cores made from clay and dried plant matter that keep the interiors cool in summer and warm in winter. On the uppermost floors, researchers found mortar heavily laced with blue-gray ceramic powder, not only boosting strength but also reflecting some thermal radiation for natural climate control. Not stopping at the walls, dialu doors and windows were sheathed in hand-forged iron mounted on massive hinges, sometimes imported, sometimes homemade, with locks and bolts crafted from copper or lead alloys, creating literal iron barriers. Some towers featured cross-shaped loopholes for returning fire or surveillance without revealing the defender's position. Secret family techniques for forging these anti-ballistic features have faded, with only scattered mentions in genealogies or ancient diaries. Countless tales describe how, in years of chaos, some towers endured week-long sieges without their walls collapsing, at most only superficial scratches. Raiders attempted to blow them open with explosives, but the thick, multi-layered, specially fortified walls dispersed and diminished the blasts. Some scholars have compared these walls to ancient composite armor, blending hardness, resilience, and superior sound and heat insulation qualities rare in contemporary structures. Dialu broke ground in their era by experimenting with hybrid materials, while most Chinese constructions still used standard brick and lime. Fusing Eastern and Western ideas, these towers withstood war storms and centuries of abandonment. Their enduring resilience is living evidence of a lost technology any lover of ancient mysteries would long to rediscover. Many international research teams have come to Kaiping to study and reconstruct the bulletproof recipe. Some mix sugar seashells, ceramic powder, and clay as described in ancient records, but the results have never matched true dialu durability. These failed reconstructions have only fueled hypotheses that beyond materials, some secret knowledge was involved: firing temperatures, curing times, or perhaps natural fermentation over many years' steps modern builders rarely have the patience to attempt. Behind the enigma of bulletproof materials, dialu astound researchers with their scientific blending of ingredients, using additives to create air bubbles for resilience, exploiting local resources for maximum safety, even predicting environmental impacts, and layering thermal and moisture barriers for each story. Such practices reveal that dialu builders were not only wealthy, but also masters of materials and engineering. Today, many towers show signs of age, their plaster flaking away to expose layers of diverse materials within. Yet specialists still cannot fully explain why dialu remain so durable. Some believe their secret lies in a purposeful randomness, in mixing each tower an individual experiment with no formula, exactly matching another, conferring a unique character, and making them nearly impossible to replicate. Dialu are not just defensive fortresses, but living museums of bulletproof construction art. To this day, Kaiping dialu remains a challenge for modern science and a testament to timeless human ingenuity. Their unresolved mysteries are what make dialu one of the world's most enigmatic architectural heritages. In the history of humankind, few structures have stood tall for hundreds or even thousands of years, while also defying every modern scientific hypothesis as profoundly as the polygonal stone walls of the Inca. Inca ashlar polygonal masonry, the technique of dry-fitting multi-angled stones without mortar, is not only a unique technical hallmark of the Andes civilization, but also a mystery that has confounded the brightest minds of our era. How did the Inca, without wheels, without steel, without heavy machinery, create such timeless masterpieces, especially in the realm of stone shaping and assembly? What do you think of these mysteries? Will modern technology ever fully decode the Incas' impossible stoneworking methods? Share your thoughts below and join the discussion. The stone walls at Cusco, Sacsayhuaman, Ollantaytambo, and more rising majestically in the heart of the Andes serve as vivid testimony to the ancients' ability to turn stone into art. Each stone is a unique individual with no two alike polygonal shapes, sometimes with 12 or 13 intricate faces, perfectly interlocking with neighboring stones, all without a drop of mortar. More remarkably, these walls have endured hundreds of earthquake storms and the passage of time without cracking or shifting, while later colonial-era Spanish constructions of brick and mortar collapsed again and again, requiring reinforcement. Seen from afar, Inca stone walls ripple across the landscape, powerful yet gentle, never monotonous, never repeating any pattern. Up close, what stuns every engineer and archaeologist are the joints. Even a razor blade or a sheet of paper cannot slip between the stones. The Incas were not only adept at selecting and transporting stones, some weighing dozens or even hundreds of tons, but also at guiding them to fit together with breathtaking precision. But the greatest mystery, and the aspect that most astonishes the world, lies in the technology of stoneworking. How did they cut, grind, and shape blocks of andesite or diorite harder than carbon steel, using only pebbles or soft copper tools? Theories involving stone hammers, copper pounders, water fire, even sand and rope have all been proposed, but none have been proven effective, especially when considering the Incas' level of sophistication, scale, and construction speed. Some modern experiments have attempted to reconstruct Inca techniques with professional stonemasons using ancient tools to try to create a similar joint, but often it takes days just to fit one or two small stones, whereas the Incas built walls hundreds of meters long and tens of meters high in short periods. Some of the largest stones at Sacsayhuaman weigh up to 90 or 120 tons, traversed over treacherous mountain slopes, yet were still precisely joined to the millimeter. Moreover, the polishing of contact surfaces is another challenge. Inca stones are not perfectly flat, like those cut by modern machines, but have gentle curves matching the natural shape of the stone and the overall form of the wall. This curvature actually makes the walls stronger, increasing their earthquake resistance. Many believe the Incas would measure and test-fit the stones dozens of times, using powdered pigments or clay to mark contact points, and then gradually grinding the stones until they fit. But doing this at such a massive scale, with stones weighing tens of tons, is unimaginable by ordinary human power. Beyond the stoneworking mystery, the enigma of Inca ashlar polygonal masonry is also rooted in its symbolic meanings and physically defiant structures. Why did the Incas choose to build polygonal walls instead of the straight rectangular types common to other civilizations? Did they deeply understand the geology and seismic dynamics of their earthquake-prone region, knowing that interlocking multi-angled stones would sway, absorbing shock without collapse? Or did the many-faced stones serve to make the walls unbreakable or impossible to dismantle? Some stones in Cusco have up to 12 carved angles, perhaps as a form of code or religious symbol. Many modern scholars have found traces of melted stone surfaces or strange erosions that pre-Columbian technology could not produce. Some hypothesize the Incas used a special plant-based solution capable of softening stone-focused sunlight to create intense heat or even sonic technology to vibrate and alter the stone's structure, though all remain unproven speculation. Some experts focus on lifting lugs anchoring hole or indentations on the stones, suggesting the Incas used complex wooden scaffolding pulleys or leveraged water and mud to move large stones. Yet all modern experimental reconstructions require enormous effort and still fail to match the original walls' precision. Anyone examining Inca stonework must admit these walls were not built to last mere decades, but hundreds or thousands of years. Their durability stems from stone selection, jointing technique, and the way each stone locks into a load-bearing network, withstanding every force of nature and man. Some Inca walls were even incorporated by the Spanish to build new churches or palaces, and it's the original Inca stonework that has survived centuries of war and earthquakes intact. To this day, even with robots, laser cutters, and simulation software, researchers still cannot fully replicate the true Inca polygonal dry stone construction at full scale. Modern walls, though strong and beautiful, still require cement and rebar materials unknown to the Incas. That is why Inca ashlar polygonal masonry remains a mystery file, a technical heritage, and an eternal puzzle for all humanity. These polygonal walls are not only physical achievements, but also enduring symbols of creative thinking, transcending limits, and the indomitable will of ancient people. They remind us technology is not just in machines, but also in wisdom, experience, patience, and love for Mother Earth. From the distant Andes, the Incas' stone walls still whisper secrets that humanity may need many more generations to truly understand. If there is one symbol that most fully embodies the spirit, creativity, and mystery of the Inca civilization in the majestic Andes, it must be the rope suspension bridges, the Inca rope suspension bridges. When facing sheer cliffs and bottomless gorges where even modern engineers would hesitate before the challenge of crossing, the Inca quietly offered an unexpected solution centuries ago. Bridges made entirely from braided wild grass and wood, without a single piece of metal, without iron hooks or fastenings, yet capable of spanning chasms dozens of meters deep, connecting hundreds of communities and sustaining the largest pre-Columbian road network in South America. So what made this marvel possible? It was an entire system of engineering, collective thinking, and inherited secrets where each braided strand was not merely construction material, but a vessel carrying knowledge, belief, and Andean identity. Today, anyone who visits the Quesuachaca Bridge, the last remaining original rope bridge preserved in Peru, cannot help but feel astonished, witnessing an entire community of hundreds gathering, year after year, to braid ropes, weave the bridge, and perform solemn rituals, transforming construction into an inseparable part of spiritual life. From a distance, these rope suspension bridges appear fragile and breakable, just bundles of dry, yellow grass stretched across two cliffs. Yet in reality, their structure is remarkably strong. The main cables are as thick as an adult's calf, composed of thousands of smaller fibers, while secondary ropes and the walking surface are reinforced in multiple layers. The bridge's durability, load-bearing capacity, resistance to strong winds, and ability to minimize oscillation were all solved with striking ingenuity, and the greatest mystery lies precisely in the rope braiding formula and the astonishing strength of the material. In your opinion, how were the Inca able to calculate the strength and structural integrity of bridges made entirely from grass, without metal or engineering blueprints? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Using only ichu grass that grows wild on high mountain slopes, including local varieties such as Koya ichu, the Inca developed a distinctive art of rope making, with a precise step-by-step process, harvesting the grass at the correct maturity, sun-drying it for flexibility, soaking it in mountain streams to increase toughness, rubbing it to soften the fibers, then braiding individual strands before twisting them into larger bundles. These smaller bundles were then twisted again, using a special technique, a counter-twisting method, ensuring tensile strength while maintaining flexibility. Each main cable of the bridge, stretching more than 30 meters long and up to 15 centimeters thick, could support the weight of entire groups of people and livestock, despite the harsh rain, sun, and wind of the Andes. Even more astonishing, though made entirely of grass, the bridge ropes could last an entire year before requiring full replacement, rarely succumbing to rot or insect damage. Meanwhile, modern attempts to recreate braided grass ropes often fail. The ropes decay, quickly snap easily, or cannot withstand heavy loads. The secret of material treatment, from grass selection, soaking methods, natural plant infusions, to the tightness and uniformity of the twist, remains a mystery to modern science. Many experts have traveled on-site to observe, measure, and analyze microfibers, yet still cannot fully explain why Inca bridge ropes were so durable. Some hypotheses suggest that the combination of skilled craftsmanship, absolute uniformity in braiding tension across the entire group, and even ritual elements, imbuing strength into each strand, created a form of composite material that machines cannot replicate. Thanks to the secret of its braided fibers, the Inca rope suspension bridge stood firm against violent natural forces for centuries. Many bridges reportedly lasted decades before their main cables needed replacement, despite daily traffic of hundreds of people, livestock, and goods. Even Western engineers during the colonial era were astonished to see these bridges withstand time and terrain, while wooden and stone bridges introduced from Europe quickly deteriorated in the cold, windy, geologically unstable Andean environment. Another remarkable feature that gives Inca rope bridges their mystical aura is the way construction knowledge was transmitted. There were no manuals, no blueprints, no formal engineering standards. All skills, formulas, and experience were passed down orally from generation to generation through communal practice intertwined with ritual. At the time of annual rope replacement, the entire village gathered to braid ropes, test strength by hand and by eye, and perform ceremonies asking mountain and river spirits to protect the bridge. This fusion of empirical knowledge, collective unity, and spiritual belief allowed the rope bridges to maintain quality for centuries. Every step from grass selection, braiding main cables, crafting secondary ropes, assembling the bridge deck, to anchoring both ends into cliffside stone, followed specific rules, though none were written down. People learned through observation, practicing alongside elders until they became master builders themselves. The Inca master craftsmen were not theoretical engineers, but true artisans with skilled hands, keen eyes, and hearts deeply connected to the land and sky. Many times, modern engineers have attempted to reconstruct Inca rope bridges using grass according to traditional descriptions, yet rarely have they achieved the same durability, stability, or load-bearing performance as the originals. Some teams have used machine-braided ropes, synthetic materials mimicking Inca fiber structures, even microscopic analysis to uncover the biological secret of ichu grass, but results remain inconclusive. The international scientific community has even regarded the preservation of Quechua as a laboratory living heritage, where interdisciplinary researchers can directly observe rope-making processes and test material properties. Still, no definitive explanation has emerged for how naturally braided grass ropes could achieve such resilience and flexibility. Some scientists argue that beyond the material itself, the collective ritual process, synchronized technique of hundreds of braiders, and shared psychological focus contributed to uniform structural integrity, reducing weak points in the overall design, something industrial mass production cannot replicate. Modern mechanical experiments are limited by the absence of centuries of embodied experience, the tactile understanding of how tightly to twist, how firmly to bind, how to treat each small bundle of fiber. For the Inca rope suspension bridges were not merely transportation tools, they were lifelines connecting major centers, enabling the movement of information goods and armies across the most treacherous landscapes of South America. As the Inca Empire expanded, the vast Kaiping road system stretched thousands of kilometers, and rope bridges became the crucial link that overcame natural barriers, allowing the civilization to dominate the Andes. Each bridge held geographic significance and sometimes military importance if cut entire regions could become isolated, severed from central authority. Therefore, building and maintaining bridges was deeply valued, symbolizing unity, reverence for ancestors, and affirmation of cultural identity. From harvesting and preparing the grass to braiding, construction, and maintenance, the Inca rope bridge represents a fusion of empirical knowledge, collective craftsmanship, and spiritual elements that modern science still cannot fully explain. Even though its design can be simulated with today's technology, the soul of the bridge, the secret within each strand, and the communal ritual behind it remains an open question. That is precisely what gives the Inca rope bridge its enduring fascination, a testament to creativity and collective strength, where a single humble strand of grass can challenge modern understanding of materials and engineering. Hidden deep within the arid heart of Jordan's desert, Petra emerges like a mirage. A city not built, but carved, sculpted, and meticulously chiseled directly into the very structure of rose-red sandstone cliffs. The name Petra itself means stone, yet this ancient city is far more than an ordinary stone relic. It is a breathtaking achievement of human intelligence, of urban planning, and of masterful technical skill, layered with secrets that have perplexed generations. While its massive facades, the legendary treasury, and the sprawling necropolis have long fascinated visitors, the true mystery of Petra lies in the invisible lines, in the sophisticated urban design, and the almost supernatural skills of the Nabatean people who created it. What techniques do you think the Nabateans used to carve such massive and intricate structures into sheer cliffs, when even modern science still hasn't fully unraveled their secrets? Share your thoughts or theories about this mystery in the comments section below. To grasp the scale of Petra's rock-cut urban planning is to step into a world where architecture is interwoven with geology. Unlike cities that rise from foundations of brick or wood, Petra's skyline was created by subtracting, not stacking. More than 800 tombs, dozens of temples, altars, dwellings, staircases, even entire streets, all were excavated and carved directly from living rock. The outdoor theater alone, with a capacity of up to 8,500 people, was not built by stacking stones, but was cut straight into the mountainside. This process required not only artistry, but also immense organizational capability. How could the Nabateans, who were once nomadic merchants, develop the vision, methods, and workforce to achieve such feats? This question leads us into deeper mysteries, and nothing is more perplexing than the technical prowess of the Nabateans. The fifth marvel of Petra lies not only in its grandeur, but also in the very methods used to shape the city's greatest structures. Even today, modern engineers are amazed at the perfect harmony between the urban layout and the natural terrain. Petra's main colonnaded street, Orcado, winds naturally through the Seq, a narrow, winding gorge that serves both as a grand entrance and as a natural defensive route. This urban plan was by no means random. Major civic and religious structures were positioned at dramatic viewpoints, appearing suddenly as travelers rounded a corner or stepped out of the canyon, each building strategically placed to maximize psychological and spiritual impact. However, the artistry of urban arrangement reveals only a fraction of even greater technical genius. Consider the facades that soar from 30 to 40 meters high, sometimes starting halfway up a sheer cliff. The most famous structure, Al-Khazni the Treasury, appears so perfect as to be almost unbelievable, with every column and cornice balanced to perfection. Archaeological evidence shows that these monumental structures were carved from the top down, a logical method to prevent rockfalls and collapse, but one that demanded flawless calculation. The artisans could not fix mistakes they made. Every chisel stroke had to be exact from the very beginning. How could they draft such colossal designs, impossible to see as a whole, from the ground with such precision? Did they use scale models? Or did they possess a form of advanced surveying or geometry, now lost to history? Accompanying this is a logistical conundrum. Constructing scaffolding on sheer cliff faces, sometimes taller than 30 meters, would challenge even modern builders. Some scholars suggest that workers suspended working platforms from above, anchored with ropes, manipulating tools and materials with nothing but gravity and courage. Yet the sandstone of Petra, although easier to carve than granite, is fragile and unpredictable. Just one small mistake could spell disaster. Despite these dangers, the surfaces of the monuments remain astonishingly smooth. The lines sharp, the interior spaces balanced and harmonious, a testament to skills that seem to transcend their era. Delving further, Petra's technical mysteries extend far beyond its facades. The heart of Petra's city pulses with invisible veins, a water management system so advanced that it allowed a dense community to thrive in a desert land. The Nabateans designed a labyrinth of rock-cut water channels, underground reservoirs, covered conduits, even pressure-regulating pipes capable of conveying water for many miles, defying flash floods and scorching heat. By capturing rainwater from seasonal downpours and storing it in large sealed reservoirs, they minimized evaporation and contamination, ensuring a stable water supply year-round. This hydraulic miracle transformed a parched valley into an oasis, sustaining agriculture, bathing, and even lush gardens, a true ecological marvel. However, the greatest secrets are found beneath the city's surface. Modern surveys using ground-penetrating radar and satellite imagery have uncovered vast underground complexes, reservoirs, tunnels, possibly tombs, or ritual spaces that remain unexplored and unmapped. Some estimates suggest that only 15% of Petra has been properly excavated. What lies below may one day rewrite our understanding of Nabatean science, social organization, and spiritual life. Petra's urban planning was not rigidly geometric as in Rome or Greece, but instead was exquisitely adapted to the surrounding terrain. The Nabateans chose the locations for their major structures based on both technical and symbolic considerations. Temples and tombs are often oriented towards sacred mountains or aligned with astronomical phenomena. On every solstice and equinox, sunlight shines precisely into certain sanctuaries, suggesting an interplay of architecture and cosmology. Was this knowledge imported from Egypt or Mesopotamia, or did the Nabateans, masters of desert navigation, develop their own systems of measurement and calculation? The mystery deepens when we consider the absence of written records. The Nabateans left behind thousands of tombs, but almost no detailed inscriptions or architectural drawings. Most of what we know is inferred from archaeological remains, a few scattered texts, and the city itself a silent book written in stone. How were workers trained? What tools did they use? Copper chisels, iron picks, or implements that have now vanished from the archaeological record? Ancient graffiti found at certain sites suggests skilled craftsmen signed their names, indicating a tradition of pride and perhaps guild organization, but the details have faded into obscurity. Comparisons with other ancient wonders only further emphasize Petra's unique mystery. While the pyramids of Egypt or the walls of the Inca are feats of assembly stone, stacked upon stone, brick upon brick, Petra is a city of subtraction, a vision realized by knowing exactly what to take away. This subtractive artistry can only be compared to the rock-cut temples of Ellora, India, or the tombs in Egypt's Valley of the Kings, yet nowhere else is it so deeply integrated into both urban planning and daily life. Natural disasters have added a tragic chapter to Petra's story. Major earthquakes in the years 363 and 551 AD toppled many buildings, shattered water routes, and accelerated the city's decline. Yet many structures remain standing, a testament to the ancient builders' profound understanding of geology and stone. The methods they use to reinforce tall facades, prevent landslides, and repair damages remain difficult to grasp. Petra's eventual abandonment, perhaps due to shifting trade routes and political upheavals, only magnifies the sense of a golden age and lost knowledge. The technical mysteries of Petra are not just relics of the past. Modern specialists, working to preserve its monuments, still face the same challenges as the ancient Nabateans: erosion, decaying stone, and water management. Many believe the Nabatean ancestors deeply understood sandstone, wisely choosing carving sites with durability and the play of light over time in mind. The Nabateans are like ghosts within Petra's stones. Who were they, and how did they manage to build a city so beautiful and enduring? Was their knowledge the result of centuries of experimentation, or was it a lost, unique inspiration? The sudden rise and disappearance of Petra only adds to its mystery. Yet Petra endures, guiding visitors, dazzling with its vibrant stone facades and continuously revealing new secrets with each archaeological discovery. Perhaps Petra was created to forever remain a riddle, a testament to human creativity and mysteries we may never fully grasp. In the end, Petra is not just a city but a great question carved in stone, echoing through time about the achievements of the Nabateans. From the windswept plains and rugged highlands of Anatolia rises a mystery carved in stone: the Hittite cyclopean gates. Amidst the remnants of their once mighty capital Hattusa and outlying strongholds, these massive portals stand as silent witnesses to an age when human ingenuity grappled with seemingly insurmountable obstacles of scale, material, and imagination. The study of their construction has long occupied archaeologists, engineers, and historians. Yet among the many marvels, one riddle stands out above all: how did the Hittites move and assemble such immense stones without modern technology? The term cyclopean itself reflects the ancient Greek awe before these structures. To their eyes, only the mythical race of Cyclops, beings of colossal strength, could have piled such titanic blocks. Indeed, the very stones forming these gates often dwarf those of later classical monuments. Consider the Lion Gate and King's Gate of Hattusa, each flanked by guardian figures, carved from monoliths and framed by walls, assembled from boulders that can reach up to 40 tons apiece. These are not uniform rectangular blocks, but multi-ton, irregularly shaped stones, intricately fitted together without the aid of mortar, a jigsaw of rock, standing defiant through 3.5 millennia. The precision of construction itself is staggering. The joints between the blocks are often so tight that a knife blade cannot slip between them. Unlike the uniform bricks of Mesopotamian ziggurats or the smooth marble slabs of Greek temples, Hittite cyclopean masonry reveals a mastery of shaping and matching irregular surfaces. And yet the greatest enigma lies not in their placement, but in the prior question: How were these stones quarried, transported sometimes across uneven terrain and uphill, and finally lifted into position in an era lacking cranes, steel tools, or the wheel's widespread application for such purposes? There are no surviving records detailing the methods of transportation and construction used by the Hittites. Although cuneiform clay tablets from Hattusa recorded many treaties, inventories, and daily life events, they are almost completely silent when it comes to the techniques behind these grand architectural works. As a result, all deductions must be made from what remains the stone blocks themselves and the landscapes where they were set. Archaeologists have discovered several ancient quarries a few kilometers from the gates, where extraction marks are still visible on the rock surfaces. These stones, some weighing even more than a modern fully loaded truck, had to be moved across valleys, streams, and up the high hills where the city was located, but exactly how this was accomplished remains a major mystery. There is no archaeological evidence of cranes or counterweight lifting devices ever existing in Hittite Anatolia, in stark contrast to what we know from ancient Greece and Rome. Even though the wheel was known at the time, it was used only for chariots and light carts and was not suitable for moving extremely heavy stones across soft ground or steep terrain. No traces have been found of sledges, rails, or sophisticated ramps like those hypothesized for the Egyptian pyramids around Hattusa either. Many theories have been proposed to explain this mystery. One suggests that the Hittites built temporary, gently sloping earth ramps leading up to the construction site, then placed wooden rollers under the massive stones and mobilized hundreds of people to pull them, little by little. However, wood was actually quite scarce on the Anatolian plateau, and no clear traces of such enormous earth ramps have ever been found. Another theory, inspired by ancient Egyptian techniques, involves dragging the stones over wet clay using wooden sledges or lubricating the path with oil or animal fat to reduce friction. Yet there is no evidence of this method in Hittite sources, and it would be extremely difficult to use on the rocky, uneven terrain of Anatolia. Some images from other ancient Near Eastern cultures depict crowds pulling heavy objects with ropes, but when faced with the multi-ton stones of Hattusa, this method seems to exceed feasible human capacity unless mechanical aids or specialized tools were involved. Other opinions suggest that the Hittites may have taken advantage of Anatolia's harsh winters, dragging stones on sledges over snow and ice to reduce friction, but concrete evidence of large-scale, organized construction during winter remains purely hypothetical. There are also scholars who lean toward the possibility that the Hittites once used technologies that have yet to be discovered, possibly involving pulley systems, counterweights, or some form of materials and mechanical engineering that has been lost to time forever. Having brought the stones to the construction site, the next challenge was to raise and set them. The irregular shapes, some standing vertically as gateposts or carved into guardian figures, required both stability and precision. Again, the absence of mortar demands a flawless fit achieved through trial and error adjustment, repeated lifting and lowering, and meticulous chiseling. Some propose the use of sand or small stone chips as a cushion, enabling minute adjustments as the blocks settled into place. The only plausible tools at their disposal would have been levers, inclined planes, and perhaps primitive block and tackle systems. Levers can multiply force, allowing smaller teams to tip up and adjust massive stones, but the degree of control needed to avoid catastrophic slips is daunting. Moreover, the arrangement of some stones atop others forming lintels and gate arches implies the use of scaffolding or ramps now long gone. All of this suggests the existence of a class of highly skilled masons possessing generational knowledge of stone behavior, stress, and the art of balancing brute strength with finesse. The ability to shape, transport, and position these stones required organization, logistics, and a deep understanding of both materials and manpower. In addition to their defensive function, the massive stone gates of the Hittites carried profound symbolic meaning, representing the nation's power, resilience, and the desire for divine protection. The lion statues at the gates stood as emblems of both physical and spiritual strength. Constructing these monumental works also helped unite the community and foster collective pride. However, the technical mysteries remain, and the lack of detailed records has allowed legends such as the association with the Cyclops from Greek mythology to further deepen the enigmatic aura of these achievements, which far exceeded the imagination of the ancient world. Similar mysteries haunt other ancient megalithic sites: the Cyclopean walls of Mycenae and Tiryns in Greece, the Inca polygonal masonry of Sacsayhuaman, the stones of Baalbek in Lebanon, and the Great Pyramids of Egypt. In all these cases, the logistical gap between available technology and observed result seems to yawn wider the more closely one examines the evidence. But at Hattusa, the topography and resource limitations sharpen the enigma even further. The Cyclopean gates of the Hittites have stood strong for centuries, withstanding wars and harsh weather, serving as evidence of ancient people's extraordinary skill and determination. To this day, the mystery of how these massive stones were transported and assembled remains unsolved, making these structures not only relics but also symbols of hidden strength and a challenge to modern human intellect. Each sunset over these ancient stones seems to echo the miraculous efforts and eternal mysteries left behind by our ancestors. The ancient Olmec civilization, which flourished in the humid lowlands of southern Mexico from about 1500 years before Christ to 400 years before Christ, is regarded as the starting point of Mesoamerican history. Renowned for their colossal stone heads, enigmatic sculptures, and especially for their distinctive visual language, the Olmec are often hailed as the mother culture of Mesoamerica. However, one of the most perplexing mysteries surrounding the Olmec lies not just in the creation of their symbols, but in the incredible persistence and diffusion of these icons' motifs that survived almost unchanged across space and time, weaving their way into later civilizations such as the Maya, Zapotec, Teotihuacan, and Aztec. This phenomenon, known as Olmec iconographic continuity, opens a door for us to explore the hidden mechanisms of memory and cultural transmission in antiquity. Why do you think Olmec symbols could survive and spread over thousands of years? Share your thoughts in the comments below. The Olmec world produced a visual iconographic system that was both unique and striking. Among the earliest societies of Mesoamerica, the Olmec developed a language of visual motifs that included the mysterious were-jaguar, half-human, half-jaguar creature with gaping mouth and exposed fangs, infant masks, feathered serpents, undulating geometric shapes, stylized flame and water motifs, along with signs resembling writing that may have served as precursors to a full-fledged script. Archaeologists have discovered these motifs carved onto altars, colossal heads, jade masks, and stelae at sites such as La Venta, San Lorenzo, and Tres Zapotes. Even more astonishing is the way these visual elements born in the region around the Gulf of present-day Veracruz and Tabasco began to appear like distant echoes in many other cultures and across many centuries. Olmec-like patterns and motifs recur in Maya art, from San Bartolo murals to the monumental inscriptions at Palenque and Copan. The feathered serpent, first sketched in Olmec art, would re-emerge as Quetzalcoatl among the Aztec and Kukulkan among the Maya nearly a millennium after the Olmec had faded. The mask with the grimacing mouth and almond-shaped eyes became a familiar feature in Zapotec and Mixtec art. What makes this phenomenon even harder to understand is not only the superficial similarity of motifs across space and time, but the extraordinary fidelity of Olmec iconographic continuity. Motifs were repeated almost unchanged, sometimes spanning more than 2 millennia and hundreds or even thousands of kilometers. There is very little evidence that the Olmec ever directly ruled over their successor cultures, nor is there evidence of any great empire imposing such artistic uniformity. So the question arises, how did Olmec symbols manage to survive and spread so strongly? Some researchers suggest that it might be due to shared religious beliefs, myths transmitted through networks of shamans, traders, and elite artisans. Others suspect these motifs possess some innate power or universality, touching on psychological archetypes or cosmic concerns common to humanity. But these explanations only scratch the surface of the enigma. One theory posits the existence of vast trade networks. Olmec artifacts, jade figurines, ceramics objects with iconic motifs have been discovered as far as the Valley of Mexico, Oaxaca, and even in the heartland of the Maya. These items may have become silent messengers, carrying not just goods, but sacred visual codes to distant lands. Trade routes, rivers, and pilgrimage paths may have enabled the flow of both objects and ideas. However, the precision with which motifs were replicated suggests this was not merely random borrowing. Other theories hold that there may have existed itinerant artisans or ritual specialists, like the stonemasons' guilds of medieval Europe belonging to secret societies or esoteric cults that preserved sacred knowledge. These cultural custodians could have served as the living libraries of Olmec symbolism, passing down the icons through oral tradition and apprenticeship, ensuring that even as dynasties fell or cities burned, the old symbols endured. Nor can we ignore the theory of a pan-Mesoamerican visual language, a system of signs and motifs with its own grammar and syntax that allowed different peoples to communicate religious and cosmological ideas without spoken language. The existence of the Cascajal block, an artifact inscribed with a series of symbols many believe to be a form of Olmec writing, suggests a kind of proto-writing, a visual code for memory that could survive longer than language or empires. Olmec symbols were not mere decorations. They were imbued with ritual power. Motifs such as the were-jaguar supernatural dragon or the cross-shaped sign are thought to encode myths of creation, shamanic journeys between worlds, or the sacred cycle of fertility. The carving or display of these symbols may have been a religious rite, uniting people across distant places and times into a shared cosmic vision. This ritual dimension may help explain the enduring resilience of Olmec symbols. When images are believed to summon rain, legitimize royal power, or connect the living with ancestors and gods, they transcend ordinary art, becoming indispensable tools for social and spiritual survival. Successor cultures seeking divine favor or legitimacy would be strongly motivated to preserve and faithfully reproduce these potent icons. Despite these plausible scenarios, many questions stubbornly remain unanswered. Archaeological evidence for continuous direct contact between the Olmec heartland and later civilizations is exceedingly rare. Some motifs even leapfrog over cultural firewalls, appearing in places and at times where there are no traces of intermediate objects, populations, or migrations. The result is a patchwork map of transmission. In some places, Olmec motifs flourish. In others, they are strangely absent. Moreover, there are indications that Olmec symbols were at times hidden, buried, or even deliberately destroyed only to reappear in faraway lands. Some colossal heads and altars were ritually interred, perhaps as a form of sacred preservation, or as a way to conceal secret knowledge from outsiders. Adding another layer of mystery, some Olmec symbols are extremely difficult to interpret. Are they proto-writing celestial maps, genealogical records, or sacred signatures of gods and ancestors? Perhaps they combine several functions. The Maya script that followed seems to borrow heavily from Olmec visual grammar, yet the original meanings of many Olmec glyphs remain distant. It is as if the Olmec left behind not only images, but locked messages, codes whose keys were lost or changed over time, with only stubborn traces remaining. How then did the tradition of Olmec symbols survive the collapse of cities, the disintegration of the priesthood, and the rise of entirely new political orders? Some anthropologists propose the concept of collective memory, a kind of cultural DNA passed down through stories, rituals, and apprenticeships stronger than writing and more adaptable than official record-keeping. This memory is not immutable, each generation reinterprets, but does not abandon the old symbols. Others suggest that these motifs contain within themselves a compulsion to be repeated or encode cosmic truths so fundamental that no civilization inheriting the sacred land could possibly forget them. Today, the mystery of Olmec iconographic continuity still puzzles researchers. Each new artifact discovered raises further questions about how these symbols could come alive so powerfully across different civilizations. Although theories involving trade migration or secret societies have been proposed, the real answer remains unclear. One thing is certain: the endurance of Olmec symbols stands as proof of the unique power of ancient iconography, as well as humanity's ability to preserve and transmit memories and beliefs across generations. The continuity of Olmec symbols is the story of images transcending time, still whispering to posterity in the silence of stone like echoes from a vanished civilization. On a quiet day at the dawn of the 20th century, along the banks of the Songhua River in the far north of China, a strange discovery lay hidden beneath the layers of earth and humanity's memory. The unusually large skull, known in folklore as Long Kot, the Dragon Man skull, eventually emerged into the light, challenging everything humanity once thought it understood about its ancestors. More than just a rare, intact ancient human fossil, Dragon Man opened a mysterious doorway to a distant past where various human lineages coexisted, competed, and vanished into the darkness of time. When scientists first laid eyes on Dragon Man, they realized this was not simply a fossil, but rather a missing piece of a much grander evolutionary tale than we had ever imagined. The skull's massive size, its mix of archaic and modern features, and its Asian geographic context astonished the archaeological world, forcing a re-evaluation of long-held assumptions about the origins, dispersal, and fate of ancient human lineages on this vast continent. What do you think about this mysterious discovery? In your opinion, who could Dragon Man be in the story of human evolution? Share your thoughts in the comments below. The strangeness of Dragon Man begins with its physical form. The skull's volume reached up to 1,420 milliliters, equal to or even exceeding that of modern humans. Prominent thick brow ridges projected strongly like those of Neanderthals, while the cheekbones were flat and broad, the eye sockets large, and the forehead high, reminiscent of Homo sapiens. This structure gives the impression of a hybrid, both unfamiliar and familiar, as if it were the result of some interbreeding or a parallel forgotten evolutionary branch. Thus, when scientists announced that Dragon Man represented a new species, Homo longi, all attention focused on northern China, where evidence of ancient humans remains much rarer than in Africa or Europe. But what stunned the world most was not merely the skull's form, but the profound mystery of this lineage's disappearance without a trace from the evolutionary record. Why a lineage so physically advanced, possessing a large brain and such evolutionary potential as Dragon Man, is completely absent from the current of modern history remains a puzzle without clear solution. There are no clear residential sites, no associated tools, not a single cultural trace discovered alongside the fossil. This is in stark contrast to other archaic humans like Neanderthals in Europe, Homo erectus, or even the Denisovans, all of whom left signs of life tools and even DNA traces in modern populations. The lack of supporting evidence surrounding Dragon Man forces archaeologists to wonder, was this a solitary species living in isolation, or does it represent an entire community, a culture never known, entirely erased by some cataclysmic event of the past? Theories about Dragon Man's disappearance are as varied as they are mysterious. Some researchers suggest that sudden climatic changes at the end of the Pleistocene rendered Dragon Man's environment harsh and food sources scarce, leading to extinction or forcing them to migrate elsewhere. Another theory posits that the emergence and spread of Homo sapiens with superior intellect and social organization created a survival competition that Dragon Man could not win. However, there is no evidence of weapon conflict or trauma on the fossil to support this. Some paleobiologists lean towards the possibility of disease or genetic factors diminishing the Homo longi population's numbers and adaptability, causing them to gradually vanish from the evolutionary map, leaving only a single fossil skull as a final whisper from the past. Another special and highly controversial point is how Dragon Man relates to other mysterious Asian human groups, especially the Denisovans, a lineage only recently identified through DNA from small bone fragments found in Siberia and Southeast Asia. Dragon Man's cranial structure shares many similarities with reconstructed images of Denisovans, yet also features closer to Homo sapiens. This leaves the scientific community perplexed. Could Dragon Man be Denisovan, or is this a completely new independent human branch? If so, Asia was once home to many coexisting human lineages, of which we have only unearthed a few names. The question of interbreeding and gene flow among these lineages adds further layers of mystery. Denisovan DNA persists in modern Asian Pacific populations, yet Dragon Man leaves no such clear genetic trace, making the disappearance hypothesis even more tangled. In terms of chronology, the latest analyses place Dragon Man's life at about 146,000 years ago, coinciding with a period when other human lineages were thriving across Eurasia. This was also a time of major changes in climate geography and even technological revolutions, such as tool-making and fire use. Still, Dragon Man left no clear evidence of tool use or communal life, deepening the mystery. Did they survive purely by natural foraging and hunting skills, or was their culture so simple it left no physical trace, or is there yet another reason we cannot yet know? Many suggest these very factors may have prevented Dragon Man from competing successfully with more agile and inventive rivals in the same ecological niche, leading to the silent death of an entire lineage. Unlike Neanderthals in Europe, whose lifestyles, habits, and even cave art have been reconstructed, Dragon Man remains a ghost on the archaeological map. DNA evidence is still insufficient to definitively determine their role in the human evolutionary tree. Intense debate continues among scientific schools. Chinese researchers boldly claim Dragon Man is the closest Asian relative to modern humans, while international scholars remain cautious, calling for more fossils, DNA, and archaeological data before making final conclusions. Thus, Dragon Man becomes a missed connection between history and the present, both near and far familiar, yet strange, emblematic of mysteries still shrouded in the dust of time. The disappearance of Dragon Man, despite anatomical advantages, large brain size, and environmental adaptability, serves as a reminder that evolution is not a straight path. Sometimes lineages that seem powerful are eliminated by unpredictable shifts in nature society or simply by a genetic accident no one could foresee. All that remains are fossils, like Dragon Man, and open questions with no clear answers. How did they once exist? How did they live on those cold lands? What brought about their complete downfall, causing them to vanish silently in history's cycle, until new fossils appear, until science can unravel every genetic mystery? Dragon Man will remain a silent figure, a symbol for forgotten evolutionary branches, and for the mysteries of human origins still waiting to be solved in the farthest corners of the planet's memory. Hidden deep within the parched cliffs of the Dead Sea region, the ancient manuscripts known as the Dead Sea Scrolls continue to whisper tales of a bygone era, a time when knowledge, faith, and unsolved mysteries were carefully hidden away like missing pieces of history. Far more than just archaeological treasures, these scrolls have opened a gateway into the worldviews, beliefs, and desires to safeguard secrets of ancient peoples, raising countless questions about their authorship, purpose, and the stories still left untold. In your opinion, what was the real reason the ancient authors hid the Dead Sea Scrolls so secretly? Tell us your thoughts below. The story began in caves near Qumran on the northwestern shore of the Dead Sea. A group of young shepherds, while chasing a lost goat, threw a stone into a cave and heard the sound of a clay jar breaking. Upon inspection, they found carefully wrapped parchment scrolls placed inside jars. That seemingly insignificant event opened up one of the most important archaeological excavations of the 20th century, with thousands of pieces of parchment, papyrus, metal, and even a metal scroll found over nearly a decade of excavation and research. What was found in the caves around Qumran truly stunned both archaeologists and religious scholars. Over 900 manuscripts, including the oldest known copies of the Hebrew Bible, Old Testament, extra-biblical works, and many religious, social, and legal texts never seen before. Some scrolls were written in unknown languages or encrypted, still not fully deciphered to this day. Scientists realized these scrolls not only recorded Jewish doctrines, but also contained a wealth of knowledge, rules, of life metaphors, and even prophecies, rituals, and social debates of ancient times. From the earliest days of discovery, the research community has engaged in intense debates about the question who authored the Dead Sea Scrolls. Is it true that all the manuscripts were written by the same group? Are they really the work of the Essene community, as the popular hypothesis suggests? Or are they the result of a broader compilation from various communities, factions, and even individual authors? Most scholars agree with the theory that the Dead Sea Scrolls are the product of the Essene sect, a group of Jews extremely strict, ascetic, and completely separated from mainstream Jewish society in Jerusalem. They considered contemporary society impure, seeing themselves as the guardians of pure doctrine, preparing for the end times. Archaeological evidence from Qumran indicates traces of an isolated settlement where inhabitants performed purification rituals, lived communally, and copied religious texts. Many texts found in the Dead Sea Scrolls match Essene teachings, such as community rules, purification rites, concepts of light and darkness, and belief in an ultimate battle between good and evil. However, there is no physical evidence to absolutely confirm that all the scrolls were written by the Essenes. Some scrolls have different styles, themes, and languages hinting at a more diverse origin. Many scholars argue these scrolls are the result of many other ancient Jewish communities, even including Sadducees, Pharisees, and Jewish exiles during the chaos when Jerusalem was conquered. This diversity further deepens the mystery surrounding the true authors of the Dead Sea Scrolls. The second and perhaps greatest mystery surrounding the Dead Sea Scrolls is the real purpose behind compiling and hiding these documents in the remote caves near the Dead Sea. Were they merely religious archives, recording the Bible doctrines and ritual regulations for future generations, or was it an effort to safeguard knowledge, preserve ideas contrary to the mainstream, and resist severe religious persecution by the Roman Empire and the powerful factions in Jerusalem? Many scholars lean towards the hypothesis that during the turmoil when Jerusalem was devastated by Roman troops in the year 70 AD, Jewish communities, especially the Essenes, hurriedly hid their precious scrolls in caves, hoping that one day, when the chaos passed, this treasury of knowledge would be rediscovered, restored, and passed on to future generations. It is also possible that some scrolls contained ideas, doctrines, or sensitive secrets the authors did not want to fall into the hands of authorities or rival groups, so they chose to hide them in remote, dry, rarely visited caves. Notably, the discovery of the copper scroll further fueled debates about the true purpose. This scroll is completely different from the religious texts, instead serving as a treasure map, recording the locations of dozens of caches of gold, silver, jewels, and precious artifacts scattered throughout Judea. To this day, no treasure from these caches has been found, nor is there any evidence confirming these treasures ever truly existed. Thus, besides religious aims, could there also be carefully hidden material secrets? Most of the Dead Sea Scrolls were written in ancient Hebrew, some in Aramaic and Greek, using a variety of linguistic styles and symbols. Some manuscripts are encrypted using strange symbols or mixed languages, which specialists still cannot fully decipher. This further complicates the mystery of authorship and purpose. Could this have been intentional by the writers to protect the content from curious eyes, or to avoid detection by enemies? The texts themselves also contain highly diverse content, from Bible copies, extra-biblical prophetic books, community rules, legal documents, poetry, prophecy to records on calendars, astronomy, and rituals. This richness not only demonstrates the vast knowledge of the authors, but also raises a series of theories about their role, perhaps a secret library for an elite community or a repository preserving ancient human knowledge far beyond mere religious objectives. The impact of the Dead Sea Scrolls does not stop at academic debates about their origins or purpose, but also fundamentally changes the way we understand the history of the Bible's formation, ancient Jewish sects, and society in Judea during the period of intersection among Judaism, Hellenization, and the Roman Empire. Thanks to these ancient Old Testament copies, scholars have identified the process of editing, supplementing, and modifying canonical texts over hundreds of years. Some content in the scrolls even contradicts the views of traditional Judaism and Christianity, sparking many debates about the purity and continuity of the great doctrines. Moreover, for many decades, access and publication of the manuscripts were tightly controlled by a small group of scholars, leading to suspicions of information concealment, editing, or even distorting history for personal or religious gain. Only at the end of the 20th century were most texts digitized and made public, enabling the international scholarly community to research and debate together. To this day, the Dead Sea Scrolls still pose many unsolved mysteries. Were all the scrolls written by a single community? How many more scrolls remain hidden in caves no one has yet discovered? Are there texts containing lost knowledge or even secrets not meant to be revealed to humanity? And more profoundly, is it the nature of ancient knowledge to be forever incomplete for history itself? Chooses what will be revealed while the rest remains eternally in the shadows of time. The Dead Sea Scrolls are not just an archaeological or religious legacy, but a symbol of human curiosity and the desire for truth. More than half a century after their first discovery, the veil of mystery over the author's purpose and true value of these ancient scrolls remains thick. Each year, new technology opens more pathways into the past. Yet the questions about the origins, motivations, and ultimate meaning of the Dead Sea Scrolls remain unanswered, awaiting explorers, scientists, and all lovers of mystery to continue the journey of deciphering. Deep within the ancient Amazon rainforest, where the canopy casts its shadow and time itself seems to stand still, there exists a site where every carved line and painted mark serves as a silent message from a distant past. This is Pedra Pintada, the painted rock of Brazil. Not grand or towering like pyramids or majestic stone cities, Pedra Pintada draws archaeologists with a far deeper mystery. Hundreds of strange symbols and figures appear on its rocky walls, forming a kind of visual language that to this day humanity has yet to decipher. Here not only are the traces of some of the earliest human settlers in the Amazon preserved, but also stories, beliefs, and knowledge never before revealed, all contained within these silent characters, etched deep into the ancient stone. What do you think the mysterious symbols on Pedra Pintada's rocks are really trying to tell us? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Pedra Pintada, literally meaning the painted rock, is in fact a vast cave system hidden beneath ancient cliffs surrounded by the Emerald Sea of the Amazon. This place is entirely isolated, accessible only by journeys that cross streams and forests, making every archaeological expedition feel like a pilgrimage back to the origins of humanity. What makes Pedra Pintada truly special isn't just its wild beauty or its immense historical age, but rather the astonishing treasure trove of ancient rock art paintings, symbols, and mysterious patterns stretched across the cave walls. According to scientists, these artworks may have existed from 11,000 to 13,000 years ago, meaning they emerged when human civilization had not yet appeared in Europe, when Egypt was still a desolate desert, and the Amazon had only just entered the human age. Before Pedra Pintada was excavated, many scholars believed the Amazon was an uninhabited land, only settled when technology and agriculture had advanced. But everything changed when the first surveys here revealed countless artifacts: stone tools, ancient pottery shards, animal bones, seashells, hearth ashes. All these show a community lived, worked, and created here tens of thousands of years ago. Even more important, the cave paintings, rendered in red, yellow, and brown from natural minerals, were not merely decorations. They represent the earliest signs of abstract thinking, social awareness, and visual communication of prehistoric Amazonian humans. These artworks shattered the theory of a late migration wave of modern humans into South America and raised a profound question: who were the first artists of the Amazon? Where did they come from? And what were they truly trying to express through their visual language? If you've ever seen the cave art of Lascaux, France, Altamira, Spain, or caves in Africa, you'll recognize some familiar patterns: humans and animals painted in a realistic style, bold brushstrokes often centered around hunting or ritual themes. But Pedra Pintada is entirely different here. The system of images and symbols is both incredibly diverse and nearly impossible to decode by any known reference system. On those ancient stone walls, the ancients left hundreds of images: stylized, human forms, stick figures, strange animals, snakes, fish, birds, four-legged beasts, and a wide array of geometric symbols, interlocked circles, dots, zigzag lines, spirals, net-like sequences, and motifs with unknown origins. Notably, many symbols seem to repeat with intention, as if they represent a form of graphic language or some ancient record-keeping system. This is precisely what fascinates and simultaneously obsesses archaeological researchers who study Pedra Pintada. Its visual language is incredibly difficult to decipher. Unlike other civilizations, whose scripts such as Egyptian hieroglyphs, Sumerian cuneiform, or Maya glyphs have gradually been decoded, the symbols at Pedra Pintada remain silent. They do not correspond to any known alphabet or ancient symbolic system, and there is no Rosetta Stone to provide a key. The visual language at Pedra Pintada is particularly perplexing for many reasons. Most of the symbols do not directly represent the natural world. Rarely do we see animals depicted realistically. Instead, there are geometric shapes, abstract patterns, and layered meanings intertwined. The paintings lack supporting context, unlike sandrock art in Africa or European cave paintings, which are often associated with hunting activities or rituals. The images at Pedra Pintada stand alone, unconnected, and do not follow any easily recognizable narrative motifs. There has never been a discovered key legend or local myth in the area to help decode the meanings behind these figures. It is likely that due to the oral tradition being lost through many generations, combined with population shifts and harsh environmental changes, this language has become extinct, with no one left who understands or passes it on. Some researchers even hypothesize that these symbols may represent a kind of code used to communicate between groups or serve in highly private rituals inaccessible to outsiders. Notable and controversial symbols include interlocking spirals believed to symbolize the cycle of life, natural rhythms, or altered states of consciousness in shamanic rituals, concentric circles that could represent the sun, the structure of the cosmos, topographic maps, rivers, or agricultural calendars, distorted human figures with twisted postures, disproportionate limbs, sometimes merging with animals reminiscent of myths about shape-shifting humans, or transformation states in trance rituals, net-like motifs, and zigzag lines that might relate to beliefs about waterfish mathematics or record-keeping, yet to this day, no one can say for certain. Each hypothesis leads to endless debate. Did the ancients simply draw on inspiration, or are all these symbols, in fact, a lost prehistoric language, a unique system of signs created by the people of the Amazon? Precisely because of this complexity, every expert approaching Pedra Pintada puts forward very different hypotheses. Some believe that each painting is a mythical story, depicting the journey of the soul, or ancient shamanic rituals, with the symbols acting as gateways connecting reality and the spiritual world, the living and the dead. Other scholars argue that Pedra Pintada is the Amazon's very first history book, recording major events such as floods, natural disasters, migrations, or wars between prehistoric tribes. Some researchers see the symbols as a kind of agricultural notation maps of rivers or lunar and solar calendars to assist with hunting and gathering. Meanwhile, a number of modern opinions suggest that perhaps the ancients painted simply to satisfy aesthetic needs, for entertainment, or to express their creative identity without any specific meaning at all. However, no matter how many theories exist to this day, the visual language of Pedra Pintada remains a giant coded wall in human history, where all efforts at deciphering it have so far stopped at mere speculation. Pedra Pintada is not just an archaeological site. It is a reminder of the complexity, diversity, and creativity of early humanity. Even without written language, even as their visual language has been buried, the prehistoric artists of the Amazon created a trove of symbols that still stun the modern world. Many researchers see Pedra Pintada as living proof that the Amazon was once a cultural center, not at all backward or uninhabited as previously believed. The existence of this rock art raises deep questions about the possibility of parallel civilizations, lost cultures that once flourished in the jungle, but whose traces have been erased by time and nature. To this day, while archaeological teams continue their relentless work, every stroke, every symbol on Pedra Pintada's walls remains a wordless code, inviting humanity to decipher and reflect on our past. Pedra Pintada is not just an archaeological site, but also a testament to humanity's desire to leave its mark over thousands of years, even if only through silent symbols. The true meaning of these signs may forever remain a mystery, yet it is precisely this that makes Pedra Pintada endlessly fascinating and inspiring to those who yearn to explore, imagine, and understand themselves. Buried beneath layers of earth for millennia, the Seabberg relief suddenly emerges like an ancient whisper sent to future generations. Amid the ancient deserts of Anatolia, it is not just evidence of a vanished civilization, but also a declaration of the creative power and unfathomable mysteries of our ancestors. Here, Stone Age people left behind a vivid visual story on rock walls, without words, without script, only an endless procession of human and animal forms in silence, challenging all our assumptions about the limits of their era's technology. More than just a work of art, Seabberg stands as proof of the extraordinary intelligence and material mastery of early humans, with every carved line, every sculpted form, carrying within it a fragment of humanity's ancient legend. What do you think is the true meaning behind the Seabberg relief? Did our ancestors possess technological secrets that we still can't unravel today? Share your thoughts in the comments below. The Seabberg narrative, relief over 2 meters long, is carved directly onto the wall of a circular stone structure. This structure itself is a mystery, reflecting an advanced level of spatial planning and construction for its time. The relief's composition includes several figures, 2 prominent adults standing powerfully in the center, surrounded by animals like leopards, wild cattle, and wolves or foxes, all seemingly participating in an endless ritual or mythological tale. Interestingly, there is no accompanying script. All meaning is conveyed through imagery, forcing modern viewers into a labyrinth of decoding imagination and debate. What astonished archaeologists most about Seabberg is the incredible sculptural technique demonstrated by prehistoric artisans. According to dating analysis, this relief was created around 11,000 years ago, during the Neolithic period, when humanity had only just begun transitioning from a hunter-gatherer lifestyle to the earliest agricultural communities. At that time, iron and steel were completely unknown. People mainly used ground stone, wood bone, and perhaps a small amount of raw native copper in its most primitive form. Yet Seabberg features extremely deep and decisive carving lines, with each human and animal figure standing out from the stone background as the result of a process of grinding, chiseling, and shaping every centimeter of hard stone, forming raised blocks that protrude 2 to 4 centimeters above the wall's surface. This was not simply scratching at stone, it demanded real skill to create depth angles and shifting effects of light and shadow, all relying on the thickness and angle of the carved surfaces. The human forms on the relief are carved with lively, realistic proportions, clearly depicting anatomical details from the shape of the arms' muscles, facial expressions, and genitals to small features like clothing or objects held in hand. The animals are brought to life through each powerful yet subtle stroke, with shaggy fur claws, eyes, and teeth all rendered meticulously. Beyond the skill of shaping individual figures, the Seabberg relief also demonstrates a masterful grasp of overall composition. The figures are arranged along a horizontal axis, coordinating gestures and positions to create a visually seamless sequence of events, much like a long story strip running along the stone wall. Notably, the artisan skillfully combined both high relief and incised carving, with some details like outlines, decorative motifs, or small animals executed in incised technique, adding striking contrast and depth to the overall composition. The extraordinary sculptural techniques at Seabberg have posed a series of perplexing questions for modern archaeologists. With the extremely limited resources, tools, and knowledge available to Neolithic people, how could they have created a work so monumental in scale, yet so intricate and precise in every detail? No traces of bronze, iron, or complex lifting machinery have been found at the site, making the crafting process more mysterious than ever. Some common theories suggest that artisans of the time carefully selected especially hard stones like volcanic rock or flint to make chisels and hammers, then painstakingly ground away at limestone or sandstone surfaces, sometimes carving only a few millimeters each day, a process that could have taken months or even years, demanding immense patience, skill, and exceptional craftsmanship. Some scholars also believe that ancient people may have used a technique where they heated the surface of the stone and then doused it with cold water to create small cracks, after which they would gradually split off larger pieces using stone chisels before finishing the finer details with smaller tools. Beyond sculpting abilities, these artisans also needed to measure and proportion figures with great accuracy either by eye or by using strings and rods as positioning tools to arrange every character within the limited space while ensuring overall harmony. Notably, many researchers predict that it must have taken numerous generations of artisans, each contributing to a small detail to perfect and pass down these remarkable skills, thereby forming an entire mysterious artistic and technical tradition that endured for centuries. What Seabberg has left behind has forced modern scholars to completely reconsider the capabilities of prehistoric humans. Clearly, our ancestors were not simply hunters and gatherers with simplistic minds. They had developed powerful abstract thinking, as shown by their creation of mythological symbols, ritual actions, and their purposeful combination of human and animal forms, each containing deep meanings about fertility power, the cycles of life and death, and generational transition. Moreover, the presence of a clear division of labor is evidence of an organized and disciplined society that valued collective art, since the process of making such reliefs required teams of artisans, stone transporters, builders, guardians, and ritual specialists. Especially remarkable is the community's ability to transmit and preserve knowledge collectively, as seen in the repetition and evolution of artistic motifs over many generations, proof that they created a unique visual language that conveyed values, beliefs, and communal memory from one generation to the next, taking the place of written language in a society where writing had yet to be invented. Compared to Göbekli Tepe or Karahan Tepe, Seabberg demonstrates a more coherent and sequential storytelling in imagery, not just isolated pillars or figurative statues, but a continuous narrative mural. The arrangement of characters and integration of small details into a larger story reflects thinking about time, causality, and complexity even more sophisticated than the famous cave paintings at Lascaux, France, or Altamira, Spain. Although the extraordinary sculptural techniques of Seabberg have amazed the world, countless unresolved mysteries still surround this relief. What was the true message that ancient artisans sought to convey? Was it an initiation ritual, a fertility ceremony, a creation myth, or perhaps a record of some real historical event now lost to time? The identity of the creators is another great question. Was it the work of a single genius, a carefully selected group of artisans from the community, or the achievement of many generations working together? No one knows whether there are other narrative reliefs like this still buried beneath the soil of Anatolia, or if Seabberg is the only surviving example. And finally, did ancient people possess secret skills or special technologies that modern humanity has completely lost? These questions continue to fascinate and drive researchers to keep searching and deciphering. In every aspect, the Seabberg narrative relief is proof of the creative power, storytelling drive, and material craftsmanship of humanity from the very dawn of history. It reminds us that art and technique are not the exclusive products of great civilizations with advanced writing, but flourish strongly even in an era when all tools were merely stone, wood, and imagination. Every carved line, every human or animal figure on the relief is a message about the immortal power of culture memory and collective intelligence, qualities that can sometimes be even greater than all the material achievements of modern humanity. When talking about the greatest and most mysterious archaeological heritages of South America, most people immediately think of names like Machu Picchu of the Incas or the majestic stone statues of San Agustin in Colombia. However, hidden among the lush green mountains of the Cauca region, Colombia lies a colossal necropolis called Tierradentro, a place that guards hundreds of underground tombs with architecture, art, and symbolism that far surpass ordinary understanding, especially regarding the origins of the people who built them. Who were they? Why did they create such a unique complex only to completely vanish, leaving behind, for future generations, a mysterious underground maze that science has yet to unravel. Who do you think built the mysterious tombs of Tierradentro? Share your thoughts about the true origins of Tierradentro in the comments below. Tierradentro means inside the earth, and true to its name, the most distinctive feature of this site is the hundreds of underground tombs, hypogea, carved deep into volcanic mountain rock. These hypogea date from about the 6th to the 9th century AD, each an incredible architectural feat. Some of the largest have diameters over 7 meters, descend up to 9 meters below ground level, with spiral staircases leading down into a shadowy space where the walls are densely covered in patterns, human figures, and mysterious red, black and white symbols. The mere act of excavating hard volcanic rock using ancient tools to create these spacious, flat-walled, evenly spaced, columned structures is enough to astonish archaeologists. Yet they were further decorated as elaborately as real temples. It's no wonder that Tierradentro is often compared to Colombia's Valley of the Kings. Stepping inside a Tierradentro hypogeum is like entering a completely different world, where art and symbolism fill every corner. The walls and ceilings of the tombs are densely painted with geometric shapes, spirals, animal motifs, birds, snakes, and especially countless mask-like human faces with large eyes and closed mouths that are haunting. Researchers have found that many of these motifs do not match any indigenous art styles in the region, and some even resemble the cultures thousands of kilometers away, such as San Agustin or even Chavin in Peru. Could there have been a vast network of cultural exchange in ancient South America? Or was Tierradentro itself the center of an independent civilization with its own beliefs, values, and religion which flourished and then vanished as if it had never existed? Strangely, these motifs are highly systematic, perhaps containing knowledge or messages, though we still cannot decode them. Are they about ancestor worship or soul initiation rituals? Are they connected to myths of rebirth or reincarnation? Some theories propose that the recurring spiral, a symbol found throughout the ancient world, may be a message about cosmic cycles, life and death, or even a code for astronomical knowledge. And this is the central question, the mystery enveloping all of Tierradentro, making it the black box of South American archaeology. Who created this monument? They were not the Inca, nor the Muisca, nor any other famous indigenous peoples of Colombia. All that later generations have found are scattered remains, some ceramic, stone, and gold artifacts, and faint traces of habitation around the tombs, but not a single written record, not a village, temple, or city that directly links to these tombs. This absolute absence of a cultural footprint means that archaeologists cannot determine for certain which group the Tierradentro people belonged to, where they came from, what language they spoke, or even their real name. The only traces left are the paintings' human faces and decorated ceramics in styles not consistent with any neighboring cultures. Some gold artifacts bear patterns similar to those of the Tairona people of the coast, but the geography is too distant for simple cultural diffusion. Some bold scholars even theorize a lost people who once controlled a vast mountainous region possessing advanced knowledge of construction art and religion rivaling the civilizations of the Andes, but who for some reason disappeared without a trace. The deeper archaeologists dig, the more baffling it becomes. Newly discovered tombs differ in style, possibly indicating multiple community layers and generations, but who were they? Why did they disappear, and where are the answers? Some even call this a phantom civilization of Colombia. Another mysterious aspect is the orientation and positioning of the tombs. Some experts have found that their layout is not random. but follows rules relating to the movements of the sun, moon, and stars. Did the Tierradentro people possess sophisticated astronomical knowledge to align the tombs as soul portals at key moments of the cosmos, or are the recurring motifs on the walls actually star maps encoded in geometric language? To this day, these theories remain unproven. But the fact that ancient cultures from Egypt, Peru, Stonehenge to Southeast Asia built monuments connected to astronomy suggests this is a line of research that cannot be ignored. Perhaps the most tragic and mysterious thing about Tierradentro is that this civilization disappeared entirely from history. After the 9th to 10th centuries, there is no trace of any large community living here. There are no oral epics, and no people claim to be descendants of the Hypogea builders. The local indigenous groups today, like the Paez Nasa, have their own legends about this sacred land, but also do not claim any connection. They only tell of ancient people who built these grand tombs and then disappeared in a great cataclysm, plague, war, natural disaster, or forced migration. All is still shrouded in mystery. This makes the question of the builders' origins even harder to answer. A civilization advanced enough to create such impressive sites, leaving art that transcends time, but then is erased with no descendants. Where did they go? Were they assimilated, destroyed, or do their descendants still exist but have lost the memory of their ancestors? The mystery surrounding the builders of Tierradentro has given rise to countless theories debated by researchers for decades. Some suggest that Tierradentro was once the center of a distinct civilization which controlled a vast territory but collapsed due to climate changes, epidemics, or conflicts with other groups, leaving Tierradentro as the last remaining vestige. Other scholars have noticed similarities between the motifs and art found at Tierradentro and those appearing in Central America, the Andes, and even Polynesia. This has led to theories about transcontinental cultural exchanges and ancient migration routes that may have crossed great mountain ranges and rivers of South America. However, to this day, there is still no archaeological evidence strong enough to confirm these ideas. Additionally, because this land is closely associated with many spiritual legends and a sense of reverence among local people, there is a reluctance to disturb the tombs. As a result, information about the builders has gradually faded, and no one dares to pass on the historical memory. In fact, many modern archaeologists believe that dozens of hypogea have yet to be excavated, and future discoveries could completely transform our understanding of this region's history. To this day, Tierradentro remains one of the greatest mysteries of South America. Who created these magnificent tombs? Why did they build them so elaborately, yet leave no clear settlement system? Why did their entire civilization vanish without a trace? No descendants, no real legends. Are there more secrets sleeping underground, waiting for the future to uncover? Today, even though Tierradentro has been recognized by UNESCO, it still retains its mysterious aura, attracting both archaeologists and travelers alike. Descending the steps of the hypogea and touching the ancient walls with their haunting human faces, everyone can sense the whispers of the past and the secrets yet to be unraveled. Perhaps it is this very silence, the absence of writing cities and descendants, that is Tierradentro's strongest message to future generations. Not every civilization needs to be recorded, for some mysteries can only be felt with the heart and with respect for history. Hidden among the mountains of Cajamarca in northern Peru, Kulwasi is far more than just an archaeological site. It is a vault holding untold secrets of ancient gold and power. Nearly 3 millennia ago, while most of humanity still regarded gold as a mere precious metal, the inhabitants of Kulwasi were already using it as a symbol of divine authority, power, and a conduit to supernatural forces. The dazzling gold tombs found here, buried within layers of ancient earth, have not only transformed our understanding of South American metallurgy, but also raised countless unanswered questions about the origins of technology, cultural exchanges, and the true meaning of gold in spiritual life. With its timeless treasures, Kulwasi continues to quietly challenge modern archaeologists. Who was the first to elevate gold from the depths of the earth to the highest symbol of power? And how could they craft gold artifacts so exquisite that even today's world is left in awe? What do you think is the greatest mystery about the gold burials at Kulwasi? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Archaeologists first excavated Kulwasi in the 1970s, quickly realizing that this was far more than just a temple complex. They discovered grand stone temples, ceremonial plazas, and most importantly, a series of burials containing extraordinarily refined gold artifacts, including crowns, masks, bracelets, earrings, beads, ritual knives, and more. Many of these artifacts remain intact after thousands of years, buried in the cold Andes earth. As excavations progressed, scholars detected signs of a complex society. Only a select few, seemingly the elite, were buried with gold. Strikingly, some tombs of children were furnished with lavish treasures, raising profound questions. Who were they? What roles did they hold to be so highly honored at such a young age? The arrangement of gold items inside the tombs reveals careful ceremonial planning and intricate spiritual beliefs. Some objects were placed directly on the face or chest of the deceased, with rings encircling the head or hands, or golden masks covering the entire face, details believed to symbolize power, the deification of individuals, or spiritual protection from evil, according to ancient perceptions. Surprisingly, besides gold, archaeologists found offerings such as marine shells unavailable in the mountains, precious stones, and rare animal bones. These finds demonstrate not only extensive trade networks, but also the development of a religious magical ideology in which gold was more than material wealth. It was a spiritual essence linking humans with deities and ancestors. The metallurgical techniques at Kulwasi truly represent an achievement far ahead of their time and remain at the heart of the site's greatest mysteries. Based on the results of modern material analyses, scientists have discovered that the gold artifacts at Kulwasi are around 3,000 years old, emerging at a time when even major civilizations in Asia and Europe were only just developing basic metallurgy. This makes Kulwasi one of the earliest cradles of goldworking in the world, not just in the Americas. The gold here was crafted using sophisticated methods such as hammering into thin sheets, repousse, micro-engraving, and precision-cutting techniques fully comparable to the renowned gold artifacts of ancient Egypt or Greece from the same era. Notably, some objects reveal highly advanced smelting and alloying skills, with gold blended with silver and copper to create unique colors, shine, and durability that would not be matched until much later civilizations. Some gold masks are so thin that light can pass through them, yet they remain flexible and completely unbroken. Achieving this required precise control of temperature alloy ratios and exceptional craftsmanship surpassing anything previously thought possible in ancient Andes. Many gold items were assembled from multiple small pieces, joined together by micro-welds so fine they can only be seen under a modern microscope. And these connections have not cracked even after thousands of years. Some artifacts also show traces of surface melting welding or hot gluing with lead-silver alloys technologies that would not appear in Europe until thousands of years later. Furthermore, isotope analysis shows that gold at Kulwasi came not only from local sources, but also bears traces of distant gold mines, proving that a highly complex system of extraction management and transportation once existed here. Some alloy samples were blended with extremely precise amounts of silver and copper and occasionally even tin, enhancing color, increasing hardness, yet still preserving the material's intrinsic value. Remarkably, to this day, scientists have still not been able to fully replicate certain Kulwasi gold alloys with the exact same physical and chemical properties as the ancient artifacts, even using the most advanced modern techniques. One of the greatest mysteries surrounding Kulwasi is the question who taught or invented the advanced metallurgical techniques found here. To this day, researchers continue to debate this issue as the development of gold working at Kulwasi seems to have emerged almost suddenly without the gradual evolution from primitive to sophisticated forms that is typical of technological progress elsewhere. There is no evidence that these techniques were imported from other regions, nor any sign of a preceding culture in surrounding areas from the same period. When compared with renowned cultures like Chavin, also located in Peru, but appearing 500 to 700 years after Kulwasi, the difference becomes stark. Gold only began to be produced on a large scale in the Chavin era, while prior cultures used mainly bronze, stone, or ceramics. Because of this, three major hypotheses have been put forward to explain the origins of Kulwasi's metallurgical secrets. First, it is possible that Kulwasi was an independent cradle that developed gold working on its own, but for some unknown reason, the knowledge was lost early, leaving a significant gap in South American history. Second, some believe that there may once have been a network of master metallurgists traveling throughout the Andes, quietly passing on their techniques to different communities, though clear evidence for this theory has yet to be found. Third, it has been suggested that Kulwasi's metallurgy was the result of contact with far-flung civilizations, perhaps even beyond the Andes, through ancient gold routes that remain unexplored by modern archaeology. Notably, many researchers have pointed out that the use of diverse alloys, precise control of furnace temperatures, the presence of underground gold smelting furnaces within temple architecture, and the appearance of mythic symbols on artifacts from distant regions all suggest the existence of a vast network of knowledge exchange, or at the very least, a mysterious golden age of enlightenment in the Andes that has never been recorded in written history. There is no denying that Kulwasi was truly the first spark that ignited the golden age of South America, as countless ritual symbols and metallurgical techniques of later great cultures, such as Chavin Mochica and Inca, bear the deep imprint of this ancient site. Andean vulture motifs, golden masked designs, techniques for hammering gold into thin sheets, and even the concept of gold as a sacred spiritual essence all appear prominently in the art and belief systems of these civilizations, demonstrating the profound and widespread influence of the Kulwasi legacy. Even the famous gold centers of Sipan, of the Moche, and the Sikan tombs inherited, developed, and transformed the metallurgical foundation that Kulwasi had established so early on. Yet a major question still lingers regarding the true origins of this extraordinary metallurgical technology. How could a small, isolated highland community produce and craft gold with a level of sophistication that surpassed even much larger and wealthier civilizations? Is it possible that there once existed a hidden treasury of technology, metallurgical knowledge, and spiritual systems that flourished and then suddenly disappeared without a trace? Or does the entire story of Kulwasi still hold secrets that history has yet to unravel? Even today, with X-ray alloy analysis, electron microscopy, and 3D reconstructions of ancient kilns, scientists still cannot fully explain how Kulwasi achieved such precise temperature control, alloy blending, and fabrication of large, uniformly thin gold objects with only simple tools. Some experts even suggest that Kulwasi may have possessed secret metallurgical formulas involving extremely rare local resources such as unique minerals, plants, or additives that have since become extinct or forgotten. Kulwasi is not only a living museum of pre-Inca art and spirituality, but also raises profound questions about human history. How could an isolated ancient society possess such advanced gold-working technology? Who was the first to pass on these skills? What drove gold to become a symbol of power and the sacred? Perhaps, like so many other ancient South American mysteries, the answers will remain buried deep beneath the Andes, leaving to future generations a golden legend with no end. On the arid, boundless expanse of the Gobi Desert, where wind and sand relentlessly bury all traces of the past, lies one of Asia's greatest archaeological mysteries, Hami stone enclosures. These ancient structures not only astonish researchers with their scale and utter isolation amid wild nature, but also present a haunting, unanswered question. Who built these primitive stone walls, and how did they do it? Who do you think built these mysterious stone structures? And for what true purpose? Share your thoughts in the comments below. The stone enclosures of Hami are scattered across a vast area in eastern Xinjiang, China. Viewed from above, these structures appear as circles, ellipses, rectangles, or even winding boundary lines in the heart of a barren desert. Some enclosures reach diameters of 50, 70, or even 100 meters, unusually large compared to typical prehistoric settlements. They are often formed by stacked or upright stones ranging from half a meter to over 2 meters tall, creating continuous walls or small islands of stone amid a sea of sand. Strikingly, many areas show no traces of villages, fields, wells, or any other infrastructure typical of long-term habitation, raising further questions about the true purpose of these constructions. Although there is no absolute consensus on the dating, most research suggests that the Hami stone enclosures were built a very long time ago, possibly during the Neolithic period or the early Bronze Age, which is at least 3,000 to 5,000 years ago. What remains around the enclosures, such as some pottery fragments, traces of fire, animal bones, and even artificially elongated human skulls, only faintly sketch the prehistoric communities that once inhabited the area. However, the stone structures themselves remain almost completely isolated from any material culture, leaving behind no identifiable symbols, scripts, or linguistic clues, causing all attempts to pinpoint their creators to end in frustration. The diversity of shape, size, and location means the purpose of the Hami stone enclosures remains highly controversial to this day. Some researchers, based on architectural features and rare burial finds, argue that these might have been ancient communal tombs, places to bury members of a community lineage or powerful group. However, other enclosures are oriented along east-west axes or align with the sunrise and sunset at solstices or special months, strongly suggesting a proto-astronomical function. Many other theories posit that the stone walls served as religious or sacrificial sites, territorial markers, or even symbolic fortifications. Yet the common thread is that all physical evidence is extremely scarce, never strong enough to confirm any hypothesis completely. At the heart of the Hami stone enclosures mystery lies their primitive, yet deliberately constructed stone architecture. These sites are mainly built from locally sourced natural stones, such as sandstone rounded or flat pebbles, and sometimes large slabs that are rectangular or nearly circular. Many of these stones weigh several hundred kilograms and were set upright or stacked in a remarkably controlled manner. Numerous walls display a double-layered construction with 2 parallel rows of stone and smaller stones packed in between for long-term stability, demonstrating a structural mindset that is far from simple and even bears striking similarities to ancient stone monuments in Europe and the Eurasian steppe. This becomes even more perplexing when placed in the context of prehistory, a time without wheels, pulleys, draft animals, or modern metal tools. Yet people were still able to transport and erect hundreds of large stones in the harsh desert environment, sometimes even bringing them up to high mounds far from the original stone source. While there have been theories involving the use of wooden rollers ropes made from desert plants, or even taking advantage of seasonal floods, there is no direct evidence of any tools or construction equipment, leaving a major gap in our archaeological understanding of their building techniques. Even more remarkable is that the entire system of stone walls was constructed without any mortar. The stones were fitted together with just enough precision to withstand thousands of years of wind and sand, with many sections anchored deep into the ground or directly connected to the natural bedrock below, showing a sophisticated grasp of gravity and structural durability. Beyond construction technique, the layout of some enclosures shows deliberate alignment along the east-west axis, or matches the direction of sunrise and sunset at specific times of the year, hinting at astronomical or ritual roles with narrow entrances resembling corridors leading to a sacred center. After thousands of years of storms, drifting sand, and relentless desert erosion, many of the Hami stone walls still stand, some only partially buried, rarely ever completely collapsed, demonstrating that their builders possessed not only extraordinary determination and physical strength, but also technical knowledge and spatial thinking far beyond what we typically imagine for prehistoric desert communities. During limited excavations, archaeologists have uncovered some unusual artifacts around the enclosures, notably artificially elongated human skulls, signs of religious ritual, social hierarchy, or expressions of power. In addition, rare animal bones, some from species that no longer exist in the desert today, hint at a once dramatically different climate. These traces are not strong enough to solve the mystery, but they open up a much broader vision of a vanished past. No script symbol emblem or characteristic artifact has ever been found to identify the true creators of Hami's stone enclosures. Some bold theories suggest these are relics of prehistoric communities that once traveled the ancient Silk Road, or were branches of now-lost steppe desert civilizations. However, the site's isolation, great scale, and consistency of design poke holes in every hypothesis. Perhaps these are the legacy of a singular culture with a unique social structure, construction skills, and cosmic perspective far beyond what mainstream history has ever recorded. Despite the site's significance, most Hami stone enclosures have not been systematically researched, excavated, or preserved. Difficult terrain, harsh climate, and limited resources have slowed scientific progress. Some enclosures are deeply buried by sand and even damaged by modern mining and construction. This only makes it harder to test hypotheses about their function-age construction techniques or connections to megalithic sites in Asia, Europe, and the Middle East. Each Hami stone wall is a challenge to scientists, explorers, and anyone fascinated by ancient mysteries. They not only raise questions about the organizational capacity of prehistoric societies, but also force us to rethink technical progress and science in human history. Are these primitive stone architectures the legacy of a once great civilization that disappeared without a trace? Or are they evidence of cultural exchange and technological transfer between East and West far earlier than commonly believed? Whether their purpose was as tombs, observatories, or ritual sites, the Hami stone enclosures remain an unsolved archaeological mystery. Their primitive stone construction without mortar, without modern tools, and without any sign of ruling power has made them an enduring symbol, standing resilient against time and oblivion. Each silent stone wall is a reminder of an era when humanity conquered nature with willpower and intellect. The Hami stone architecture stands as proof of human creativity and the eternal desire to leave an immortal mark on the desert, a mystery that still challenges every perspective on the past. There are lands where history is not only buried beneath layers of earth and stone, it also echoes in every gust of wind, in every faint trace left by ancient hands. Tepe is just such a place, a quiet mound amid the deserts of central Iran, once home to communities whose figures, voices, and destinies have been buried for countless millennia. No one truly knows who they were, where they came from, or what legacy they left behind, aside from scattered fragments of pottery, metal, and mysterious graves. Today, as the modern world gazes upon Tepe, every question revolves around one unsolved mystery. Who were the Sialk people really, and why have they become mere ghosts in the memory of Iranian civilization? What do you think happened to the mysterious people of Tepe? Do you have your own theory about who they really were? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Tepe is not just an ordinary ancient mound, but a vast archaeological site where scientists have discovered at least 6 overlapping cultural layers, each lasting for centuries, and sometimes even millennia. These layers are like pages of history gradually revealed before the eyes of researchers, unveiling the story of formation, development, decline, and rebirth of an extraordinarily unique community. The deepest layer of Sialk dates back to around 6,000 years before Christ and is even believed to be older than the Mesopotamian civilization. Artifacts made of terracotta stone, metal ceramics, jewelry, and weapons have been found in large quantities and remarkable diversity, showing that this was once a flourishing population center. The continuous presence of inhabitants throughout the ages, alternating with periods of abandonment and resettlement, makes Sialk not only appear as an immortal city, but also resemble a time machine that hides countless mysteries about early humanity. Many consider Tepe to be a vibrant encyclopedia of the remarkable achievements of prehistoric humanity. This site boasts some of the oldest ziggurat temple structures in the world, built from baked bricks and mud in a complex, multi-tiered design appearing long before the pyramids of Egypt. In addition, traces of extremely ancient metallurgical furnaces discovered at Sialk demonstrate that the skills of smelting and crafting copper, lead, silver, and gold had reached a level of sophistication far beyond common assumptions about technical capabilities in ancient times. Not only that, the deep wells, underground water channels, qanats, and various other irrigation works found here show that the people of Sialk had learned to adapt, control, and use water resources intelligently in an arid region, a crucial inherited trait of later Iranian civilizations. Especially noteworthy are the strange signs and symbols that appear frequently on pottery shards, jewelry, and tools. Many researchers believe these could be the earliest evidence for the formation of an independent writing system on the Iranian plateau. Although thousands of artifacts have been unearthed and hundreds of tombs have revealed many secrets about daily life, death, and burial rituals, the greatest question remains: who were the Sialk people really? This is the starting point for a deep chain of mysteries about their origins, ethnicity, and language. Archaeological evidence suggests that the inhabitants of Sialk were not a single tribe, but the result of many waves of migration, cultural blending, and ongoing social evolution over generations. Some scholars believe they are connected to Proto-Elamite groups, Proto-Iranian peoples, or even the distant ancestors of Aryan tribes that once spread across the plateau. The skeletal remains, skulls, and burial forms found in their tombs show diversity. Some were tall, others small, with characteristics of Western Asia, but also hints of Central or even South Asian ancestry. Their language remains a complete mystery, as Sialk has not left behind any complete written records. The signs found on pottery clay and metal objects are still only hypothetical evidence of a primitive writing system that has yet to be clearly deciphered. In terms of daily life, social organization, and spiritual beliefs, the Sialk people are thought to have lived in developed clan-based communities with clear social stratification, evident in the differences between burial areas, from ordinary graves to aristocratic tombs accompanied by jewelry, weapons, and precious items. Their burial rituals, grave locations, decorative styles, and funeral ceremonies all point to a complex belief system, worshipping deities, venerating ancestors, and possibly performing sacrificial rites. Some artifacts, such as masks, amulets, animal and human figurines, bear strong spiritual significance connected to the cycle of life and death and belief in the afterlife. Even though Tepe Sialk was once a vibrant cultural and technological center, it has been abandoned many times throughout history for reasons that remain mysterious. Theories include climate change, desertification, epidemics, military invasions, natural disasters, or the rise of new power centers, all of which may have caused the Sialk people to migrate or be absorbed into other civilizations. There are no historical records, no written documents, only silent layers of earth remaining. Sialk is like a sleeping giant, its true identity buried for centuries under the dust of time. Many researchers believe that the Sialk people played the role of an evolutionary stepping stone for the emergence of later Iranian civilizations, such as Elam, the Medes, or ancient Persia. Certain artistic motifs, construction techniques, metallurgy, and social organization models from Sialk later reappeared in major centers like Susa and Persepolis, proving the Sialk people's broad but subtle influence on the region's history. Tepe Sialk is a place where the question, "Who were the Sialk people?" has become a symbol for hundreds of other unsolved mysteries. It's not just curiosity about the origins of its inhabitants, whether they truly invented their own writing system and what language they used, or the story of where they came from and where they disappeared to after Sialk's decline. The true role of mysterious rituals, the strange artifacts found in the tombs, and how these communities were able to construct monumental structures and develop advanced metallurgical techniques while much of the world was still in its infancy, all remain questions without clear answers. For this reason, archaeologists, historians, linguists, geneticists, and others continue to delve into Tepe Sialk, hoping to find DNA, evidence, inscriptions, or any crucial clue that might finally unveil the true identity of one of the most enigmatic peoples in ancient history. Tepe Sialk is not only an important archaeological site, but is also intertwined with mysterious legends in the local collective memory. Local people often tell stories that this place was once inhabited by giant sorcerers or great bearers of knowledge, all of whom have been buried beneath the earth of the Sialk mound over time. Some tales even mention a secret chamber deep underground believed to contain all the knowledge of ancient humanity, sealed away and waiting for the day when humankind becomes wise enough to open it and uncover the secrets that the past has left behind. Tepe Sialk is like a mirror, reflecting the images of those who created, thrived, struggled, and vanished, leaving behind faint but immortal traces. Who were they? What language did they speak? What were their beliefs, dreams, fears, survival secrets? Until those secrets are finally revealed, Tepe Sialk will remain a whisper from the past forever, challenging the curiosity of future generations. Some civilizations once shone brilliantly and then vanished, leaving behind not only legends, but also relics that bewilder and astonish future generations. In the barren desert of northern Sudan, where winds and shifting sands have erased the traces of countless ancient kingdoms, Kerma Deufa still stands firm, a silent witness to an age-old history. Unlike the magnificent stone pyramids of Egypt or the lavishly adorned temples of the ancients, Deufa possesses a solemn, unyielding, and enigmatic presence, a colossal mass of mud brick, brooding through 4 millennia, challenging the ravages of time and even the modern archaeological world. Deufa, meaning Great Mound in the Nubian language, is not only a monumental structure, but also a symbol of the resilience, ingenuity, and mystery of the Kerma civilization. From around 2400 to 1500 BC-CE, the Kingdom of Kerma once stood as a powerful rival to ancient Egypt. Yet today, all that remains is the ruin of Deufa, a primeval fortress holding secrets that have never been revealed. What do you think is the greatest secret still hidden within Kerma Deufa? Or do you believe there are other lost wonders in the desert waiting to be discovered? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Kerma Deufa is by no means a small structure, nearly 19 meters high, more than 50 meters long, and with walls up to 6 or 7 meters thick. At the foundation, it resembles a lonely fortress amid a sea of sand. The entire structure is built from sun-dried mud brick, a material seemingly fragile and prone to collapse in desert storms. But in reality, it has remained solid for over 4,000 years. Deufa's architecture consists of multiple stacked levels, with a system of underground rooms, winding corridors, secret stairways, connecting floors, and strange ventilation holes within the thick walls. If you venture inside, you'll be amazed by the interwoven large and small spaces, mysterious wall recesses, and narrow passageways leading to sealed maze-like chambers, making explorers feel lost inside a miniature city built of clay. Scholars initially believed Deufa to be a temple dedicated to deities or a grand ceremonial center of the Kerma people. Yet the more they excavate, the more contradictory theories arise. Some think it was a royal palace, the site of grand audiences, or even propose astronomical or calendrical functions, since some rooms are specially illuminated at certain times of the year. Whatever its original purpose, Deufa was clearly more than an ordinary residence or temple. Its complex structure, stacked spaces, hidden recesses, closed corridors, and limited entryways suggest that special rituals, religious practices, or political activities once took place inside, relating to the supreme power of the Kerma king and connections to deities or ancestors. What truly sets Kerma Deufa apart are the mysteries surrounding its construction techniques, mysteries that modern science still cannot fully unravel. Instead of using massive stone blocks like the ancient Egyptians, the people of Kerma chose mud brick, a material that would seem fragile and easily destroyed by harsh weather. Yet millions of mud bricks, each weighing between 10 and 15 kilograms, were mixed from Nile silt dry straw and water, then sun-dried in the desert, allowing the structure to endure for millennia. These bricks were not only stacked layer upon layer, but also bonded by a special natural mortar whose precise chemical composition remains unknown to this day. This mysterious combination is what kept them firmly intact, resisting disintegration despite thousands of years of rain floods and intense heat. Some experts believe the secret lies in the selection of rich clay, a precise recipe for mixing and drying, and the use of waterproofing compounds from tree resin ash or other organic materials. Especially notable is how the brick layers were arranged in spiral interlocking patterns, greatly increasing their structural strength compared to ordinary building methods. Furthermore, the foundation of Deufa itself stands as a remarkable achievement. Radar surveys reveal an extremely thick and solid base, with tightly packed mud brick, interspersed with river pebbles, gravel, and multiple layers of sand to distribute weight and pressure. As a result, the entire structure never subsided and could even withstand minor tremors from earthquakes or floods, a rare feature among ancient buildings of its era. Modern engineers who have attempted to replicate this foundation are amazed even with only primitive tools. The people of Kerma ensured the stability of this monumental structure for 40 centuries without the need for modern waterproofing chemicals. The walls of Deufa, measuring up to 6 or 7 meters thick, not only provide structural support, but are also ingeniously designed with hidden ventilation shafts. As sunlight beats down, hot air is vented out through small openings, keeping the interior cool even when desert temperatures outside can reach 45 to 50 degrees Celsius. This system also helps prevent mold and protects the brick layers from damage, significantly extending the building's lifespan. Some enclosed chambers have small doors and gently sloping floors toward the center, suggesting the Kerma people understood how to create natural air circulation to cool the space when large groups gathered for rituals. The sheer scale of Deufa's construction also poses a major question. To complete this monument, the Kerma people would have needed to mobilize hundreds of skilled craftsmen, thousands of laborers, and sustain continuous construction for decades. Yet archaeologists have never found any evidence of specialized tools or written records detailing their methods. How did they transport and raise millions of mud bricks to such heights without pulleys, metal scaffolding cranes, or even proper wheels? Some theories propose they used long earth ramps, sledges, human and animal labor, and some mysterious adhesive to set the bricks in place at higher levels. However, to this day, no modern experiment has successfully replicated Deufa's scale speed and enduring strength. Above all, Deufa is a masterpiece of hidden artistry. Unlike the dazzling pyramids of Egypt, Deufa's exterior is simply a brooding mass of reddish-brown mud brick, with no ornate decorations or vivid colors, standing alone amidst the barren yellow sands. Yet within some inner chambers lie traces of rare blue paint, wave-like motifs, and depictions of the moon and stars, all kept secret, reserved only for the elite or high priests conducting the most sacred rituals. Around Deufa are strange cemeteries, thousands of large and small graves, many burying dozens of people at once, possibly for sacrifice, royal retinue, or members of special ceremonies. Some graves contain intertwined human and animal skeletons in odd postures, raising questions about rituals, beliefs, or even bloody mysteries of Kerma's power. Many graves yielded gold, copper gems, small divine statues, weapons, jewelry. Some bear Egyptian cultural marks, reflecting the complexity and openness of ancient Kerma society. Kerma was once the capital of the Nubian kingdom, confronting Egypt for nearly 1,000 years. At its peak, Kerma controlled trade routes of gold and ivory and was a major trading partner of Egypt, even defeating pharaohs and occupying part of Lower Egypt. Deufa is seen as the heart of power in Kerma, the ceremonial center, a symbol uniting politics, religion, and military, but also the site marking the civilization's decline after Egyptian conquest. To this day, many fundamental questions about Kerma Deufa remain unanswered. Why did the people of Kerma choose mud brick, a material that seems fragile instead of solid stone, to build such a monumental structure? What were the precise formulas and techniques they used to produce and preserve bricks that have endured for thousands of years? How did they manage to transport, assemble, organize, labor plan, and oversee such a massive construction project, especially when no written records have survived? And why did Deufa conceal all traces of decoration and artistry inside rather than displaying them outwardly, as was common with Egyptian or Mesopotamian monuments? All of these unresolved mysteries have made Kerma Deufa one of the most enigmatic structures of ancient Africa, a monument that continues to challenge even modern science. Today, Deufa still stands tall in the desert, a testament to a once great civilization and its unresolved mysteries. As time passes, every mud brick here continues to evoke the intelligence, resilience, and aspirations of ancient people. It may be a long time before modern science fully unravels the secrets of Kerma Deufa, but it is precisely this mystery that has turned the monument into a fortress of secrets that humanity will always long to explore. If there is anywhere on Earth that shakes the very definition of what ancient humans could build, it is Huaca del Sol. Amid the vast coastal desert of northern Peru, where scorching sun, relentless winds, and floods constantly test the limits of architecture, a pyramid of adobe bricks rises defiantly, challenging both nature and time itself. No machines, no wheels, no draft animals, yet the Moche people left behind a monumental engineering riddle that continues to astonish modern scientists. How did they transport and stack tens of millions of bricks to create a massive structure that has stood strong for millennia? Hidden deep within those bricks and layers of dust are transcendent construction secrets, mysteries of ancestral ingenuity that still elude complete explanation to this day. What do you think was the greatest secret behind the construction of Huaca del Sol? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Huaca del Sol was once the largest pre-Columbian structure in South America. Nearly 50 meters tall, over 340 meters long, and more than 160 meters wide, its total volume reached hundreds of thousands of cubic meters. It far exceeded all expectations of what societies without iron wheels or draft animals could accomplish. Historical accounts state that to build Huaca del Sol, the Moche used tens of millions of adobe bricks, estimated at between 50 and 140 million bricks each, handcrafted from clay, water, straw, and gravel, then sun-dried until reaching the ideal hardness. Even more astonishing, every brick bears its own unique symbol, the signature of each team or clan, revealing an extremely tight social organization. This was not the product of a single generation, but a communal work lasting hundreds of years, with many layers of people succeeding each other, working together to complete a symbol of power and faith. One of the greatest mysteries of Huaca del Sol is the incredibly advanced construction techniques that the Moche people applied, despite the extremely harsh environmental conditions along Peru's desert coastline. Here the climate is marked by long periods of drought, interspersed with violent floods caused by the El Niño phenomenon, a soft ground prone to subsidence, strong winds, and frequent earthquakes. Yet this monument has stood firm for thousands of years. The secret lies in each transcendent innovation they left behind. First, the Moche refined their adobe brick recipe to achieve the perfect ratio of clay, water, straw, sand, and gravel, resulting in bricks that were both hard and elastic, not cracking under strong impact, and not turning mushy in heavy rain. The process of sun-drying each brick in the hot, dry climate further increased its durability, minimized water absorption, and protected it from erosion over time. Beyond the choice of materials, the Moche also constructed Huaca del Sol layer by layer, each level set back from the one below, creating a stepped pyramid that not only enhanced stability but also distributed force during earthquakes. The bricks in each layer were interlocked and bonded with a special clay, creating a flexible skeleton that allowed the structure to expand and contract under stress, much like modern earthquake-resistant engineering. Additionally, organizing the transport of materials was an enormous challenge. Millions of bricks had to be moved from their production sites to the construction site, all without trucks, wheels, or draft animals. Some theories suggest the Moche used bamboo rafts laid down roads with branches or took advantage of the rainy season when slippery ground made transportation easier. The traces of ancient roads still found around the ruins today serve as evidence of their meticulous logistics system. Notably, to cope with harsh natural forces beneath the surface of Huaca del Sol lies a highly intelligent network of ditches, drainage pits, and flood-resistant steps, which help prevent floodwaters from seeping in and reduced erosion. Many sections of wall were coated with a special mud mixture that repelled water and deterred mold and insect damage. Finally, although most reliefs and murals have faded over time, remaining traces show that the Moche used natural colors such as red earth charcoal, stone powder, and even tree resin to create durable pigments that resisted washing out from rain or sun. These decorative techniques not only beautified the site, but also protected the adobe surfaces from natural chemical wear. Beyond the technical factors, Huaca del Sol's success also depended on social organization, mobilizing huge manpower, dividing labor, tracking progress, and ensuring the quality of each brick show that the Moche had a tightly managed system. The appearance of signatures on the bricks hints at some form of cooperation or competition between clans, both motivating spirit and controlling quality. Some scholars believe Huaca del Sol was not only a place for rituals or politics, but also a symbol of unity and supreme power of the ruling class. It demonstrates the strength of the community, the ability to overcome harsh nature to create a wonder in the desert. Despite centuries of research, Huaca del Sol still keeps countless secrets that modern scientists have yet to fully decipher. One of the greatest mysteries is the method of brick bonding and the extraordinary resistance to collapse demonstrated by this structure. Some sections of wall that have subsided reveal the presence of special core areas, which may consist of bricks fired using more advanced technology or that were reinforced with a layer of mud containing mysterious additives whose exact composition archaeologists have not yet identified. In addition, the ventilation and climate control systems inside Huaca del Sol remain a significant challenge for researchers. Many deep rooms within the pyramid are able to maintain a cool temperature in summer and avoid humidity during the rainy season, but the construction techniques that enabled this are still not completely understood. Furthermore, the maintenance and expansion mechanism of Huaca del Sol is another major question. Across many generations, the Moche appear to have regularly repaired, added new layers, and patched old walls, yet without demolishing the original foundations. This has created a unique layered history, reflecting both sustainable construction thinking and posing new challenges for modern excavation and restoration. Finally, the true reason for the decline of Huaca del Sol remains a matter of debate. Was it harsh climate change warfare, or simply the overwhelming weight of the immense structure itself that led this monumental site to the brink of collapse? In reality, much of Huaca del Sol was destroyed by gold mining activities and natural disasters, yet it is astonishing that its foundations remain sturdy after thousands of years. All these factors combine to turn Huaca del Sol into an archaeological black box, a place preserving secrets of technology, engineering, and transcendent Moche ingenuity that humanity has yet to fully uncover. Compared to the pyramids of Egypt or stone temples of the Middle East, Huaca del Sol stands out for its construction techniques adapted to Peru's extreme coastal climate. Without stone, without large wooden pillars, which are rare in the desert, the Moche invented a mass construction method using adobe, quick, efficient, and customizable for each period's ritual and political needs. Notably, while contemporary with Nazca or Paracas civilizations, in southern Peru, only the Moche developed adobe construction at such massive scale and with a complete layered earthquake-resistant system. Today, Huaca del Sol is where scientists, civil engineers, architects, and historians come to learn and discover ancient secrets applicable to modern construction, from green materials resilience to nature to mobilizing community strength. Above all, this structure reminds us, ancient people were not less intelligent, nor less creative or determined than we are today. To this day, millions of ancient adobe bricks lie silently under Peru's sun and wind, like unread pages of human history. Beneath layers of dust, the secrets of transcendent construction, social organization, and mysterious motivations still await discovery. Perhaps only when we answer, how did the ancestors of the Moshi achieve the impossible, will humanity truly understand the value of Huaca del Sol, a grand legacy of ancient intelligence. Amidst mist-laden forests and the echoes of ancient Javanese civilization, a stone marvel rises majestically. Borobudur is not just the largest Buddhist temple on the planet, but also an immense coded archive where more than 2,600 relief panels silently carry messages across time. Each relief is not merely a tale of legends or religious mythology, but a doorway leading into a world of unanswered questions. Who truly built this epic in stone? Why did they choose to hide the message within these carvings, leaving generations to puzzle over their meaning? In Borobudur, the boundaries between art, faith, and mystery are blurred, turning this place into a labyrinth of knowledge where anyone can lose themselves amid layers of meaning that have never been fully revealed. What do you think is the real message hidden in the Borobudur reliefs? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Borobudur was constructed in the 8th to 9th century under the Sailendra dynasty during the golden peak of Javanese civilization. Unlike Western temples adorned only with motifs or solitary statues, Borobudur chose to narrate through thousands of consecutive relief panels, each over 1 meter in length, deeply engraved onto hard volcanic rock. These depict scenes from Buddhist scriptures such as Jataka, Lalitavastara, Avadana, Gandavyuha, and alongside are images of daily life warfare, commerce, customs, architecture, nature, animals, and even fantastical motifs that remain difficult to interpret. Observing the Borobudur reliefs, it feels as if we travel back in time, returning to ancient Java, sensing the rhythms, breath, and spirit of a once glorious civilization now shrouded in dust. The reliefs are more than just illustrations. Behind every line and symbol lies a multi-layered system of Buddhist philosophy and indigenous Javanese beliefs. It's a path to enlightenment from the ordinary person through cultivation and the overcoming of desire and anger, gradually progressing toward nirvana. It is a gigantic stone mandala with 3 levels: the realm of desire, the realm of form, and the formless realm, representing different states of cosmic awareness. The reliefs also feature many strange symbols like spirals, deities riding dragons, flying objects, and divine vision scenes. Not all scholars can agree on their meanings. Notably, the lowest tier of reliefs, the hidden foot or karma vibhanga, illustrates detailed karma punishment and moments of choosing between good and evil, but these were covered up and only rediscovered during 19th century restoration. The reason for hiding these reliefs remains a major mystery. The most mysterious aspect of the Borobudur reliefs is that no ancient documents, no stelae, and no inscriptions reveal the names of the architects, artists, or leaders who orchestrated this entire stone epic. While research generally agrees that Borobudur belongs to the Sailendra era, the identities, origins, and stories of those who directed every frame, every layout, and every layer of meaning remain complete enigmas. In other ancient civilizations, grand monuments often bear the marks of kings or master architects. But at Borobudur, all accomplishments seem deliberately hidden, with the spotlight instead on religious symbols, philosophy, and spiritual journeys. Perhaps in the Buddhist spirit, the ego of the creator dissolved into the collective whole. Or is there something more meticulously concealed, like the traditions of ancient secret societies? The most prominent hypothesis is that Borobudur was the work of a secret society of monks, artists, and scholars, the elite of Southeast Asia, in the 8th and 9th centuries. They possessed knowledge far ahead of their time. Architecture, astronomy, philosophy, religion, mathematics, sculpture, and even esoteric codes, passed down orally, never written. The entire relief system shows an uncanny unity in theme layout and rhythm linking meanings from the lowest to the highest, from the outermost to the innermost core, like a path of cultivation and a miniature cosmic code. Many discovered carvings bear symbols of foreign origin, not only Javanese, but possibly from India, Tibet, or even ancient China. This sparks theories about trans-regional knowledge exchange, or perhaps an invisible hand of international masters from the ancient world. On the surface, the Borobudur reliefs are a pictorial Buddhist scripture teaching philosophy and spirituality to pilgrims. Yet modern scholars ask, why devote decades, mobilize tens of thousands of workers, extract millions of stones, and organize a massive art factory just to retell stories already widespread? In India, perhaps the Borobudur reliefs hold deeper layers of meaning, a cosmic map, a tool for meditation, guidance, an encrypted transmission of special knowledge, or even an ancient energy resonance device. Some propose that as pilgrims circumambulate and ascend through the reliefs, they are guided on a spiritual path, evolving the mind and deciphering the self, just like solving Borobudur's riddles. The reliefs become tools to activate thought, emotion, and awareness, helping the observer achieve higher consciousness, receive esoteric knowledge, or even connect with greater reality. Another major mystery is that after completion, Borobudur gradually became moss-covered, buried by volcanic ash and jungle for many centuries, with no traces of major religious activity or records of grand festivals. Was this monument built for only a select group, for a specific secret purpose, and then sealed away, or was it simply fate that kept it hidden until the 19th century, when humanity rediscovered it? The mysteries surrounding the true creators and the hidden purposes of the Borobudur reliefs remain posing a challenge for every generation. Was this entire masterpiece the work of a solitary genius, a secret society possessing knowledge far beyond their time, or the collective achievement of the entire ancient Javanese civilization? No one knows for sure whether within those stone reliefs are encoded special forms of knowledge about placement, orientation, geometry, recurring numbers, or sequences of enigmatic scenes that no one has yet fully deciphered. Some suggest that Borobudur is not merely a colossal Buddhist center, but also a spiritual machine, a miniature cosmic map, or even a device for transmitting ancient wisdom to future generations of humanity. Beyond the creator's mystery, the Borobudur reliefs are an immense data trove about ancient Javanese society. The reliefs record houses, boats, warfare, trade costumes, musical instruments, animals, and daily life from kings to commoners. Some even depict flying objects or strange devices that researchers cannot yet agree upon. Some modern scholars wonder, did the reliefs encode ancient technological and scientific knowledge? Do details of weapons, vehicles, or astronomical geographic symbols provide clues for future generations to decipher what ancient Java once knew? More than 160 relief panels at the lowest level were walled up the hidden foot, or Karma Wibhanga, only to be discovered by Dutch restorers in the 19th century. These reliefs convey sharper distinctions of good and evil hellish scenes, and karma more forceful than those above, with harsh punishments and intricate transformations. Was this concealment due to religious, political, or secret reasons? Messages inappropriate for contemporary minds? To this day, no official answer exists. The entire Borobudur reliefs are arranged around a three-dimensional mandala, tiers of reliefs spiraling upward, guiding visitors from base to stupa summit, mirroring the spiritual ascent. Measurements, angles, and relief positions might correspond with astronomical events or telluric energy points. Some Western researchers have compared Borobudur to an acoustic resonance device, energy station, or ancient observatory based on its geometry, acoustics, and geographic location. Borobudur reliefs are a vibrant, visual library, a monumental code map of ancient humanity. But the most profound and crucial matters are those unsolved mysteries. Who truly created it? For what purpose did they carve such intricate, unified, enigmatic panels? Is Borobudur simply a Buddhist center? Or is it a cosmic message, an operating system for the mind left for our era and those to come? Perhaps the Borobudur reliefs are an endless invitation for imagination, the urge to conquer knowledge and the will to seek hidden origins. For each of us, standing before these ancient stone reliefs, must ask ourselves, are we deep enough to understand the messages of the ancients? Deep within the isolated and remote salt mines of Cherabad, a cold and windswept region in the northwest of Iran, there lies a strange secret that has slumbered for many millennia. Each layer of pure white salt is not just a natural product, but also a protective shroud for human remains that have transformed into the so-called salt men. The discovery of these mummified bodies was not simply an archaeological event. It was the beginning of a chain of questions that reach beyond the limits of modern science. Who were they? What truly happened? Why did the destinies of these people, separated by thousands of years, come together in such a peculiar place? In your opinion, what is the most mysterious thing about these salt men? Do you have any theories about why people separated by thousands of years, all ended their lives in the same place? Share your thoughts in the comments below. In the year 1993, while extracting salt at Cherabad, Iranian miners accidentally uncovered a strange mummified human body. The face had a long beard, disheveled hair, fragments of clothing were still intact, and even woven grass shoes remained attached to the feet, a scene resembling a time traveler frozen in salt. This discovery quickly led to several other excavations. In total, 6 sets of remains were found, each with its own unique imprint, but all preserved naturally thanks to the power of salt, a harsh environment that prevents all bacterial decomposition. But what truly puzzled archaeologists was not that the mummies remained intact, but that the ages of each individual were completely different. When experts used radiocarbon dating to determine the ages of the mummies, something unimaginable was revealed. The saltmen did not belong to the same historical period. The oldest individual was identified as having lived around the 4th century before Christ, during the height of the Persian Empire. The youngest could have been a resident of the 4th century after Christ, nearly a whole millennium apart. Between them were other individuals, each representing a different era, a story, a civilization now lost to time. This immediately raised a series of unanswered questions. Why did these people, separated by hundreds of years, all share the same fate of being buried in the same salt mine? Was this place a hotspot for mining accidents, or were there secret rituals, historical upheavals, or migrations unknown to modern science? The discovery of such diverse ages led archaeologists into a labyrinth of theories. Some of the saltmen could have been local miners working and dying in cave-ins or from toxic gases. Yet there is also evidence that some individuals were not locals, based on their clothing belongings and even genetic traits. For example, one individual had gold jewelry, while another carried a dagger and a leather pouch containing food, traces that indicate they came from different social classes and regions. It is possible this place was once a gathering point for merchants, warriors, craftsmen, even pilgrims or kidnap victims. A greater mystery lies in the fact that there are no traces indicating they were intentionally buried. There are no graves, no offerings, nor evidence of funerary rites. The bodies were found in various positions, some lying on their sides, some curled up as if trying to escape. Some had fractured skulls or wounds, but it remains unclear whether this was from accidents, struggles, or the aftermath of being buried. Historically, each saltman is a living witness to periods of grandeur and decline of the Persian, Parthian, and Sassanid empires. Each may have carried stories of war migration, social change, or simply the hazardous lives of laborers in a land rich in resources but filled with countless dangers. Yet over thousands of years, all those personal memories were erased by time, leaving only silent, nameless mummies with no known age or relatives. Even now, despite ancient DNA analysis, scientists can only determine certain characteristics like gender, diet, and health conditions, but cannot confidently identify their true names, lineage, or links between the saltmen and local communities. Big questions remain. Were they members of the same family, the same village, or complete strangers? Where did they come from? And why did destiny lead them to this place, separated by hundreds of years, but ending in the same way? Some researchers believe the saltmen were victims of multiple separate accidents, occurring at different times. Because of the unique salt environment, the bodies did not decompose and gradually accumulated over many centuries. Others believe that this was a site for ancient sacrificial rituals where people were either willing or forced to sacrifice themselves to the gods of the salt mine, hoping for prosperity or to drive away misfortune. Another intriguing theory questions the role of the saltmen during conflicts or political and social upheaval in ancient West Asia. Perhaps this place was a trade crossroads or a refuge for fugitives, the end of the line for those pursued, exiled, or even criminals punished by being left to die in salt. Remarkably, the fact that these mummies were never found and removed from the mine for thousands of years is itself a mystery. Did the locals know of these deaths but were unable or unwilling to enter the mine for rescue due to spiritual beliefs, legends, or fear of the salt's power? Each saltman is a tiny but vital link in the chain of human history, a vivid testament to the interweaving of many cultures, technologies, and beliefs over more than a millennium. Through the remaining artifacts, daggers, grass shoes, leather pouches, food jewelry, archaeologists can trace back in time to reconstruct life, society, and even disasters that happened here. Yet more profoundly, it is the diversity of ages and ambiguous identities of the saltmen that makes Cherabad's legacy one of archaeology's greatest mysteries. They are not merely accidental mummies, but a silent message to posterity about human fate before nature time and the unforeseeable events of history. Even after decades of research, experts must admit we still cannot know the true identity of each saltman, the reason for their deaths, or whether there is some fateful connection among them. Who were they? Why did they all choose, or were chosen, to end their lives in the cold heart of a salt mine? Perhaps the 1,000-year silence of the salt will forever conceal this secret, leaving behind for future generations a haunting legacy of human fragility and the eternal mystery of history. On the southeastern edge of the Arabian Peninsula, where desert sands meet the blue sea, lie scattered ancient stone tombs dating back over 4,000 years. These are the silent witnesses of the an-Nar civilization, one of the greatest enigmas of Middle Eastern archaeology, especially renowned for their massive collective circular tombs that contain hundreds of skeletons and countless mysterious artifacts from across the ancient world. Above all, the an-Nar tombs astound scientists with their construction techniques, a kind of prehistoric technology that archaeologists have yet to fully unravel. What do you find most mysterious about the an-Nar tombs? If you could explore one thing about this lost civilization, what would it be? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. The an-Nar civilization circa 2600 to 2000 BCE, flourished in what is now the United Arab Emirates and northern Oman. Contrary to common beliefs about a primitive semi-nomadic society, an-Nar demonstrated advanced social organization, far-reaching trade, and above all, a unique stone tomb architecture unparalleled in world history. These circular stone tombs, known as an-Nar tombs, became a timeless symbol of the civilization's development while leaving behind countless mysteries regarding their construction rituals and the true origins of their builders. The an-Nar tombs typically measure from 6 to 12 meters in diameter, with some reaching up to 14 meters, far larger than any contemporary collective tombs in the Arabian Peninsula. Each tomb is built entirely of stone, with massive stone slabs stacked and fitted together meticulously without mortar, forming solid thick walls that can sometimes be up to 4 meters high. The tombs are usually domed or flat-roofed, depending on the location, with central stones locking the entire structure in place. Remarkably, despite being over 4,000 years old, many tombs remain almost perfectly intact in shape and structure, defying the harsh climate. Inside, the space is divided into numerous small chambers or corridors for collective burial. Some tombs contain up to hundreds of skeletons arranged in layers, each body placed neatly according to strict rules. Each tomb usually has only one entrance, small and low, with most aligned to a fixed direction, possibly linked to sun rituals, rebirth, or ancient astronomy. What makes the an-Nar tombs truly special is not only their massive scale, but also their construction technology, which was far ahead of its time. The enormous sandstone and limestone blocks, each weighing several tons, were joined together by ancient builders with astonishing precision without the use of any mortar or binding agent. Upon close inspection, you can see that the stones were cut and fitted so tightly that the surfaces touch perfectly, with the edges often ground and finely adjusted, a skill that would not be developed by major civilizations until many centuries later. Archaeologists have also discovered that at many joints between the stones, natural locking ridges or protrusions were cleverly used as a kind of interlocking key, helping the tomb walls remain stable against natural disasters, sandstorms, and the passage of time. Because of this, many theories have arisen. How could the people of an-Nar, using only primitive tools, have transported and precisely assembled such massive stones? Did they possess some special technique or tool that humanity has since forgotten? Up to now, the artifacts found around the tombs consist only of stone axes, small copper chisels, or other basic stone-working tools. This raises a major question. How could people in ancient times quarry and transport multi-ton stone blocks from quarries, move them over several kilometers to the construction site, then lift and precisely assemble them into perfect circular structures? Some theories suggest that they might have used wooden rollers, scaffolding, or coordinated hundreds of people in construction rituals that lasted for years. However, archaeologists have never found clear traces of wheels or pulleys from this era. Remarkably, some chemical studies have revealed that the surfaces of an-Nar stones show signs of thermal treatment. Perhaps the ancients knew how to heat and then cool the stone to split it more easily, or they used natural compounds to create a kind of ultra-light biological cement that is nearly invisible to the naked eye. In addition, the design of the tombs was optimized to withstand the harsh desert climate. The arrangement of massive stone slabs to form thick walls helps maintain a stable temperature inside, avoiding the extreme difference between day and night. The thick stone domed or flat roofs not only protect the burial space from sand and rain, but also prevent erosion over thousands of years. Especially notable is that the exterior stone surfaces were often decorated with carved patterns or polished, not only enhancing aesthetics, but also reflecting solar radiation and reducing heat absorption. The durability of the tombs is another aspect that amazes researchers. Despite enduring many large and small earthquakes, the an-Nar structures have stood firm over time. Modern analysis shows that the round design and multi-layered thick walls are extremely effective at dissipating force. The large stones are staggered at each level, forming load-bearing belts similar to earthquake-resistant techniques in modern architecture. Furthermore, the dry desert climate and the careful selection of high, well-drained locations have also contributed to the preservation of these tombs for millennia. Beyond the technical aspects, the an-Nar tombs also showcase impressive artistic and spiritual understanding. Many tombs are elaborately decorated with geometric motifs, animals, suns, and waves carved directly into the stone. Even the small tomb entrances are meticulously crafted with stone borders, and at times are precisely aligned with astronomical directions, such as toward the sunrise or sunset on the solstice, demonstrating the an-Nar people's deep knowledge of ancient astronomy. Many of the architectural and construction techniques found in an-Nar tombs later appeared in other stone monuments across Oman, the United Arab Emirates, and even further into the Arabian Peninsula and Iran. This proves the significant influence that an-Nar civilization had in terms of technology, art, and religious practices on later generations, even though the civilization itself mysteriously disappeared. Many great mysteries still surround the an-Nar tombs, leaving researchers constantly pondering. The discovery of hundreds of skeletons buried collectively in a single tomb demonstrates that society at that time was highly organized, but it also raises major questions. Was this the result of tragic events, such as epidemics, wars, or famines, or simply a long-standing tradition of ancestor worship spanning many generations? In addition, inside the tombs, archaeologists have found countless artifacts originating from distant civilizations, such as Mesopotamia, the Indus Valley, and even Central Asia, including jewelry made of precious stones, copper beads, and pottery. All of these finds indicate that an-Nar was once an important link in the ancient trade network connecting East and West. However, the reason why a community living in the desert could wield such broad commercial influence remains unexplained. One of the greatest mysteries is the sudden collapse of this civilization around 2,000 years before the Common Era. The stone tombs were abandoned with no traces of new burials, and society completely disintegrated. Some theories suggest that climate change, depleted water sources, or conflicts with other groups contributed to the downfall of an-Nar, but so far, no truly convincing evidence has been found. Especially notable is that some human skeletons in these tombs exhibit unusual characteristics in terms of age, skull shape, or marks of ritual surgeries such as bone cutting, trepanation, or even the use of preservation chemicals. These findings lead scientists to suspect the existence of special rituals or primitive mummification practices previously unknown in the Arabian Peninsula. The an-Nar tombs are a unique archaeological heritage, serving as proof of prehistoric human creativity and advanced engineering. The mysteries of their architecture rituals and the disappearance of this civilization continue to fascinate researchers. Today, excavations are still ongoing, in hopes of uncovering hidden secrets, reminding us of humanity's ability to overcome challenges and leave a lasting mark on history.